I love my Welsh. It can be you got to use it sparingly.
It seems to be impossible. You can't pronounce a Welsh name or something. But the landscape is beautiful and people are wonderful. So
Once you learn the mechanics of it, it's a beautiful language. Oh, it's gorgeous.
Yeah, it sounds awesome. Yep.
But whenever you see it, if you're not used to how they write things, those words, just the English hits them and it bounces off.
Yeah, it's like a Finnish, meaning you have like 22-letter words and you have long, enormous amount of syllables stacked on top of each other.
Is Yiddish anything like German, which is it's actually just a bunch of little words mashed together for the most part?
Rox, can you hear us? Just let me know.
Yeah, the German is very much like the Nordic words. It's just that they speak the opposite words. They get the verb and the stuff.
My wife is a German translator, so
Oh, wow.
whenever it comes to foreign languages, that's usually what I do. I think of what she is up to.
Ed is still... Esrin, we're still waiting for Ed. Ed'll be here. Ed always is fashionably a little late here. He'll be on shortly. So we can do some announcements if we come live and Ed is still not here. I got a couple, of course, obviously a real big one, but some others too. So we can do that. So, what's up, Chantel? Good to see you.
Getting to know you. We should sing more in our shows.
I'm terrible singer.
I know, that's the best part.
Oh my gosh.
Sing like there's nobody listening.
But you have some.
You're an affiliate now, you don't care.
Yeah.
Partner
You've done it
now.
a couple of times. Yeah.
Yes, been affiliate for 3.5 years. It's just, oh my god.
What are you now?
A partner.
Oh, partner.
Twitch partner, yep. Affiliate affiliate's the first step. Yep.
So now
So they only have 2 steps. They should have like an intermediate.
Well, they do. They have one where you're nothing.
Oh, okay. So it's like me, you're nothing, and then you're affiliate.
Wow. Just on Twitch. Yeah.
We have the rude glare.
Yeah.
And I'll save that for Thursday.
What am I doing? I was here looking for stuff. This is the downside of being in D&D for 20 years. You have files everywhere.
Yeah, I know. Tell me about it, man. Stuff. I understand that.
I try to keep it organized.
Thank you, Cardman. Thank you so very much. Huge weight off of me. Really is. Appreciate it.
There's 2 files for you.
Oh yeah, Wiley. Yeah, oh, I thought you knew that, man. All right, so there's someone who didn't know. Like, watch this. Here we go.
What are we watching?
Let's see here. Let's throw out all my animated emotes. So I can have fun. I got 5 animated emotes now. What's up, Dave? So, waiting on Ed.
Yeah, where's that other one?
Ed's going to be prompt dead on. So, Skyguth!
Hello.
Thank you, Skyguth. Yes. Let me, it's early, guys. I'll re-shout you out. Both of you. There's Wiley's. And look at that little check mark. So sexy, isn't it? And, and then there's
Check marks the spot.
Yes, it does. It does on Twitch. So, just,
Oh, that's at the Enosi. Where did I put the Enosi?
31 months, Gaggith. Very cool. And you got all right, so you have a founder badge now. So I think that 15 other people who subscribed number 16 and number 25 will now get a first badge, a founder badge, because it said once you go to partner, when you're an affiliate, your first 10 get that first badge. But now the first 25 that ever sub to the channel will get the first badge. I think Skagit, that's why you got that first badge now, which is kind of cool. What's up, Armin? Yeah, sure. Glad you had a good stream last night, Armin. That's cool. Said we're still a little early. Hey, Bones, hang out as long as you can. I know you got a stream tonight. I got the a legend himself with Eric Menge coming on shortly at Greenwood. Creator of the Forgotten Realms. It's gonna be a fun one. Well, thank you there, Dave. I appreciate that. And I missed my cue, of course, to hit a button. At least I didn't hit a wrong button here. So very cool. Mitch just hype trained us to that. Thanks, Mitch. Mitch, am I going to see you this weekend, man? Mitch, if the answer is yes, let me know, and I want to do something for you if you're going to be here. All right. So, hopefully you don't have plans Friday night. So, I have a private party at a bar in Philly. So I'll invite you. So I'll get with you. I'll get with you via Discord. All right. Stella Luna's gonna be there. So yeah, open bar for 3 hours. So you can't beat that, dude. You're in Philly, my town. Actually, it's not my town, but I'm close enough, right, Anna?
Yep.
Yeah, I had you at open bar. Yeah, so yeah, that'll be so. Hey, I get one convention a year in Philly, right? And that's this. So thanks, Armin, for popping us over that. Very nice, man. Thank you. Get that level. We're not even live. We already got that level 1 hype train. So here he comes. All right, who can I put on the second row? Do I have a volunteer? Anna, I'm a volunteer.
I can be on second row. No problem.
I'll be second row.
Nah, it's
Hello.
How's that? There we go.
Welcome.
We'll put the special guests up top. Yeah.
Oh, yes, definitely.
Hey.
I'll go at the bottom.
Hi.
Yep.
Hello. Oh, Wiley, man, thanks. Man, this is cranked up already.
Yeah, and you're coming in just at all the.
Yeah, coming in. We got a level.
we
just got a whole bunch. Wow, thank you. Thanks for that, Wiley. I really appreciate it. I know you haven't been streaming as much lately, but let me know if you're going to get a Greyhawk stream up and going, because it's very kind of you. We do have this. I shout this out multiple times tonight. New shout out. It's our new stream team called Greyhawk Creatives. It's the stuff I can do now as a partner. So
yeah, JM leveled up.
I've leveled up on Twitch.
Yep.
Yeah, I have, Ed. I've leveled up to a new level. So
yeah, he's high level now. So yeah.
Oh.
Well, there's only one level.
New foes and new opportunities.
New opportunities, new already level. Wow. So, yeah, thank you,
Did
bro.
they send you the special underwear you get?
Yes, I have it
I'm
on
sure
too.
they-
I have my
yeah.
lucky red underwear on. I always like that red underwear. Get lucky.
Yeah, I got lucky, but he ran away.
Oh, Armin, you don't know? Yeah, I got partnered. I got partnered right before my stream started Thursday night. Yeah, like 5 minutes before I went live. I'm like, what the hell's going on? There's a new button on my dashboard, and I went and found the emails. Like, oh my god! I couldn't do anything for it because it was literally 5 minutes before I went live.
We talked Faye, and that did it.
Yeah, the Faye Talk did it.
Wow.
That was the second one. That was on Wednesday night. Eric's a two-timer this week.
Yeah.
So, Eric's
Nice of you to show up, Ed. There's this old people here. A young whippersnapper.
Well,
go ahead.
Yup. Just checking if my whipper was snapped before we were on air.
That would be a reference to that underwear again, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, no, it's for the straps, lingerie, and all these things that choke you.
Oh my. Oh my.
Oh, we're getting into the secret societies already.
Yes, very secret societies.
Well, no, actually, that's the one you have to wear on your head. You know, when you walk down the street in Milwaukee saying, "Hi, I'm attending Gen Con." Yes, you are not mistaken. Because, you know, it's a Republican state, so you have to really shock those government workers trying to report for duty half a block away from the convention center.
It's awesome.
You have to make them respect us, because it's one step away from fear.
You say fear or theater?
Fear. Yes,
Good one step away from theater.
my first year when Milwaukee was left behind and they relocated to Indianapolis was to meet two of the high-priced lawyers who are part of the Scottish Rite Church. And for the meeting, they put on their full armor to impress us. They have full plate armor.
Wow.
Full plate. Wow.
These elderly white male lawyers. They have full plate armor, which contrasts oddly with their horn-rimmed spectacles and complete overall body sweat that they work up because they put the armor on over their suits, for God's sake. But they wanted to impress us. Oh yeah, you're into this fantasy stuff. So look, we have the real stuff. So of course, for their meeting that night when they were attending, I had to wear full Frankenfurter lingerie just to show them.
So everyone,
did they shiver into the?
Yeah, they did.
Oh,
yeah.
Good.
And then they looked for all available exits in a hurry. Something about the flowing Santa beard, you know.
We always start off on, when Ed comes on and Eric comes on together with this kind of discussion right at the beginning. So it's look, but there it is, Casey with his drawing thing, back with his drawing right away. So awesome. Very, very cool.
Casey of the Bandit King.
Yes, and Casey.
Awesome.
They will
Hi,
steal
Casey.
your new underwear, Jay.
Yeah.
Beware.
Along with chickens and flour and bolts and and
Anything
Awesome.
not nailed down.
iron
If it is nailed
spikes
down,
and all that
a crowbar.
So we're live, right?
Yes.
Yes.
And here's the
Hi.
So here's the thing. I got a huge weight lifted off me every Thursday. Thank you for everyone's support. We don't need, we can talk about it a little bit down the road, but it open up a lot of new doors. And, it took 3.5 years, but it's there and we made it. Finally, we made partner status. So thank you all for the wonderful, wonderful support of the community. It means a lot. It also means that we can really crank things up now, and I'm excited. And tonight I'm really excited about this discussion as well, because for back again, the legendary Ed Greenwood and a legend in his own right, Eric Menge, twice on
Legend
this
in his
week.
own mind.
Twice on this meet. So it's Fate of the Norn. So Troy Balfrin said he was going to shout out Ed's Kickstarter the whole time he's on. I haven't seen him on yet to do it because I made Balfrin a mod. Yep. So Ed's got a great Kickstarter, and we're gonna make sure that we get that out there a lot. Thanks for that reminder, Troy. And please note the following too. Here's the Greyhawk Creative Stream Team we're putting together. You'll know a lot of the names, but it's one-stop shop now for all of our community streamers. We even have crafters in there now. We have a new one you may not know about, Moonlight Minis, and she's been on the show. Christine Van Patten, the 3D sculptor for Reaper and Darksword, has joined that team. So that's something that's going to be. We're all excited about it. But tonight we're going to have a wonderful discussion on secret society. So, Ed, first thoughts on this, and how important are they to both the realms and what you think about with Greyhawk too?
Okay, so first thoughts. I'm going to put this right out there.
Please.
When we talk about secret societies that are published and in canon, you're automatically talking about the least successful ones. Because we know about them. They're not secret.
That's true. Yep.
Okay.
Well, that's true.
They may be very effective as power groups, as influencers within the setting, but they've done it either inadvertently or deliberately at the cost of being secret. So you're not being manipulated without realizing it. If you're talking about in the realms, the wearers of the purple or the twisted rune, And you're not talking, okay, they may be powerful, but they're not really trading on their secrecy anymore. They're trading on their notoriety. And it's also sort of, I always distinguish between secret societies and religious cults.
Okay.
And in the realms, the cult of the dragon is sort of almost on the straddling line of those two things, but it is a cult. It has a religious belief. It follows things. And so because that's based on belief, and usually religious cults want to recruit or attract followers or attract popularity, or at least attract obedience and fear and respect, if not, worshiping. Again, not secrecy. Some of their rites might be secret. Some of the things they do might be secret, but they aren't really secret societies.
Okay.
So, that would be my first thing. And I would also add, because, the realms, I am the realms, is that the realms is home to countless cabals, thousands upon thousands of them, by which I mean little groups of merchants or sea captains or criminals who meet just to make pacts. I won't attack your smugglers using yon warehouse if you don't underprice me on the flagons we sell in our completing shops, or more often, I won't carry bowls in my shop if you'll refrain from selling cups. And they do these sort of non-compete agreements. These sort of cabals are everywhere, always operating, and they're in play. They're best left to the dungeon master, because then they can be complete mysteries that player characters stumble across in play. Okay. All of which leaves us with real secret societies. And I'll shut up now and let everybody else. Wait a minute. I'll say one more thing. In the realms, the most frequent reason for secret societies in the realms is regime change.
Okay.
Sometimes they're rebels who want the king swept away and merchants to rule in a ruling council instead, but more often they're nobles who are rivals of the ruling family, and they want to replace that ruling family with themselves, but they want to at least do the initial steps as secretly as possible, rather than plunging the realm into civil war that they might lose. So, okay, there you go. I now shut up and
no. See, here's a good, Ed. When you're on, I can just listen, which is awesome. It's just really fantastic, and I really appreciate you coming back for this discussion. This is going to be an
shutting
awesome...
me up is the hard thing. Not
but it's wonderful, and I want to add a couple of others that I think might fill in a couple of the gaps. And the thinking, because I agree totally that the meaning the ones that we heard about are failure as secret organizations, but I also think it's different. It's the people in the setting, so to speak, if they never heard of it. It might be plastered all over the rule books, but and we as DMs and so on, but the players and the characters should not know about it to start with, so to speak. So that is I think one of them. But also, and I agree also, a lot of the regime change organizations need to be secret, otherwise they will probably be hunted out of existence, so to speak. Yeah. But I also assume that there are also regimes that run secret organizations for doing things that they don't want to stand for. Meaning, and I see one that is kind of mentioned even in that people don't realize in Greyhawk, that came to be in, I think, the Sergeant era or the Living Greyhawk era, the Knights of Luna. I see them as a secret organization in a way, because and the way I have them is that they execute a Selene foreign policy that Selene doesn't want to be official policy, because Selene can simply say, we don't have a policy, we don't integrate with others, and be just isolationist. And then they have a secret organization that trusted members of the hierarchy go out and secretly do all the foreign policy stuff, dirty or not, that the Selene regime don't want to, because then they have deniability. We've never done anything, our people have not done it, so to speak. So they can, so that's another thing. And I would bet that several regimes have it. And in a way, I think good and neutral countries probably have more of it than evil ones in a way, because the good ones, they need to hide their bad habits, so to speak, a bit more than the evil ones, because the evil ones want to brag about their bad habits, how many they murder and slaughter and whatever they do. But the good ones, they want to not advertise it, and they want deniability to some degree.
Plausible deniability.
Yeah, exactly. Yes. Yeah. Not real deniability, but plausible. Yeah. Yeah.
So
Which
my
build on what
go ahead.
build on what Anna is saying. I was thinking to go with Ed, where it's all about regime change in the realms. In No Earth, I think most of the secret societies are about regime stability,
Yeah, some of
regime
them
preservation.
do. Yeah.
That it
That's
would
what
be,
governments want. Yeah.
Yeah, they want to have secret societies that are there to ensure that they continue to thrive, whether they be spy organizations or they've infiltrated the thief organization.
And,
We
and
do
that's
that
a
in
really
Jeff.
that's a really good point, because one of the things that often arises in a novel, a fantasy novel, or a trilogy, or in your role-playing campaign, when your player characters are suddenly thrust into the spotlight, why is this happening now? Why didn't it happen 2 generations ago or before your player
Right.
characters were born? Why is it waiting for your player characters to be the heroes or the goats or on the spot? And the answer can often be because these secret societies have been holding things in check, and then the player characters are the bulls in the china shop who sort of say, "Oh yeah," and then this happens, and then this knocks into this, and then
Yep.
this
Yeah,
kingdom topples, and then 6 kingdoms invade, and then the gods come, and then the world splits asunder, and then
Yep.
it's time for tea.
Yeah, and I came up with a kind of a cool campaign kickoff that way, that the characters get to know something that someone is telling them, because someone don't want to spill the beans on it, but they tell the character, so the character goes out and spill the beans, and they will get all the heat from the ones that told the secret that the high and mighty knows it, but they don't want anybody else to know, and then someone don't want to be the one squealing or telling the world about it, but so they hand it over to the characters to go out there and yell and scream about it or do something.
And Anna has just put and stated the price of being a player character adventurer in most countries. That's the price. Oh, good. I'll frame you for this. Oh, I'll get you blamed for that.
Always in the wrong place at the wrong time.
Yep.
Adventurers all the time.
Isn't that the adventure hook for I4 Pharaoh?
Might be.
You're blamed.
I
for
remember the
something
Sword
going
of
on.
Justice in the Dungeon magazine. That was basic D&D, and you got framed in that one too. Someone
Yep.
got framed, yeah, in that one as well.
Oh,
I have a rhetorical.
falsely framed.
I got a rhetorical question down to Anna, and Anna brought up a secret society. I'm like, who's the Knights of Luna? I have no idea who they are. They don't exist in my.
Shame.
They don't exist in my campaign.
Clang, shame.
Oh. Yeah.
Because my campaign is 15 years before they even were thought up.
Oh, so. Lord
I know you
Gasumba,
slapped me down, Ed, on Twitter that
Lord
other night.
Gasumba, you just have to look for knights with full moons on their shields.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, they're so secret that it's kind of
They're so
they
secret.
wear shields. Yep.
Yeah. By the way,
Is there secret? What Anna suggested earlier, that they claim to be independent, but they're actually a branch of the government of Selene.
Yeah, that's how
That
I
is the
have it, so
secretive
to
part
speak,
of
because
it.
they're led by Melf himself. So it's they have royal connections.
they're led by Melf, and I go, "Hey, Luke, do you know about these Knights of Luna?" He goes,
Yeah,
"I have
and
no
he
idea what you're
didn't know
talking about."
Yeah. Yeah. So now I got that one. So they're so secret that even the player playing the person
They're
leading the
so
organization.
secret. Melf doesn't even know.
Melf doesn't even know their leader.
Exactly. Yeah. So we know they're very successful because the player of the character that is leading the organization doesn't even know they exist. So they're very successful. Yeah.
I want to tell a funny little story. So someone said on Twitter a couple weeks ago, "Hey, put something down that you didn't even realize you were doing in D&D." And I said, I looked up one day, and I thought I had the longest campaign in existence at 40 years. And then Ed comes back and smacks me down on that chat. It goes, "You can have in the USA because
That is so
yeah,
awesome.
it was hysterical. I was like, Ed, I bow to you, Ed, absolutely.
Hey,
anyone I want to bow. Yeah.
There
Yeah.
are two things you can do in Canada in the cold winter, and one of them produces babies and costs money. So,
Yeah, that was so awesome.
Oh, that's
Yeah, it was
fantastic.
really
Yep.
funny. I really
Oh,
appreciate
thank you, Jason Zavoda, for
Yes,
posting
linking the Knights of
links to
Luna.
it.
I just
Yep.
they're a sergeant at creation, and I just
Yep.
I'm not a fan, but that's okay. To each his own. It's your own campaign now. I got my
but
own knighthood.
but here's the thing. All that Carl was doing was try and put more toys in the Dungeon Master's toy box.
Oh yeah,
He was just
absolutely.
trying to,
Yep.
yeah, that's all. I mean, it's whether do you want to use them? No. So in your campaign, the Knights of Luna are three old men who sit in an upstairs room getting drunk and saying, if we were younger and still had our teeth, we'd be really something,
Yep.
I have this.
It's like I had one
I have a
campaign, the
separate
Harpers were nothing but a giant lie made up by performers, and
There
they
you
were all
go.
claiming to be harbors so that people
Yep.
would leave them alone.
Really? Wow.
Yep. And,
Yep.
and so that tavern masters would pay them, not stick
Yes.
Yep.
Hey, see my badge? You should pay me extra.
I got you. I
Yeah.
got your rocks on that. That's a second Harper's question. I'm writing them down.
Uh-oh.
So right, yes, I got some of those. Yeah, got a couple of those coming up. So, Eric, your initial thoughts on this discussion? I know we've bounced around.
Well, the bounce around, I agree with Ed that we got to be careful of. Are we going to be talking about secret societies or societies that have notoriety for being secretive? And while he has several from the Forgotten Realms side, Faerun, there is one that is infamous for being secretive and therefore famous, and it's this group.
Yes. So
How on earth can you be secretive when you wear red and you're basically about racial purity? So your very appearance tags you for
here's
what
a
you
giveaway
are.
tonight. Both those, Treasures of Greyhawk and a reprint of the Scarlet Brotherhood book. Okay,
But
it's
you-
not
you-
original,
you-
please.
So I think they're as Ed
Yes,
says,
all
they're the most
There you go.
failed secret society
tonight.
ever.
Hi, we're secret, and we have a shiny book written about us. Here, would
Make
you
them
like
any less
one?
dangerous.
So that's a good question and a good point, and it's right on the gray area. But for this discussion, those kind of organizations, I think that they fit into the discussion one way or another. It just depends on your point of view on them. I do not like the Scarlet Brotherhood and I say this every time, every show I'm on my side of the Darlene map. Get them off.
Yeah.
Keep them on the eastern side of the map. I don't want them in the shield, in the Hold of the Sea Princess. I don't want them. They can have some outposts here and there, but I don't. They didn't. I don't
Every
want
time
them
he says this, a monk jumps out and
Oh my
boom,
gosh.
Setting blows him on the back of the head and runs away.
I love the Gourd book when they get their asses kicked in that Gourd in the second Gourd book, right? Novel. They
Okay.
go in at Strandkeep Castle and they go in and get obliterated. So a poor
But
man's
some
yeah, right, Jason.
But some organizations can be open that they exist, but not say anything about what they actually do. So they
all
can
cool,
have a
Chantel.
secretive agenda and secret and
It's just me.
they can pretend to just be symbolic or just be like some old dude sitting in an attic somewhere discussing old memories. But in fact, they are a major conspiracy running something to overturn nations, whatever. So that I guess that's one way of staying secret, so to speak, by hiding your real purposes and your real intents and all that.
Yes, actually, that is a lovely literary trope that doesn't get used enough in role playing. Hi, we're chuckleheads.
Yeah.
That's our foreground thing. And while you watch our left hand fumble and drop the bouncing balls, and you all laugh at us for being old farts, our right hand is right up this marionette or puppets behind and doing this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very effectively.
And I think there are a couple organizations in Greyhawk that do that, which we can discuss.
I know there was the Gyron was doing that with their ambassador in the city of Greyhawk.
Mm-hmm.
She was she was a singer. if I
Yeah.
remember quickly, and then she was like hiding in plain sight as just a singer, but she was actually doing all the coordination and sneaky stuff to try to undermine IUs.
There's also another one who acts like he's a complete incompetent, but he's not. It's right, a dual identity, I think, with another ambassador there as well during that era. So
That was
a popular tactic in the real world modern times. Yes, I know.
absolutely.
Yep.
So Ed really tweet in our discussion in our what do you call it, Discord group. Ed said, "Oh, I got you got 3. Did you say you wanted to discuss tonight? Brand new ones? Is that true?" Oh my,
Yeah.
that is awesome. And one of them had a Greyhawk connection, which is really cool.
Yeah.
Too.
So I'll leave that one till last to keep
All
you
right.
hanging.
Awesome.
Oh, what, you want me to spout one of them now?
Uh,
No,
yeah, yeah. Why not? Let's
we
start.
must build
This
up the
is the
anticipation.
carrot. This is the carrot
Mhm.
in, and then everyone wanted to know the other. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I've got the
Sure.
stick. I've got the stick ready right over here. But okay, the carrot. Oh, that's for later when we're
Okay.
friendly.
Okay.
So let's begin with
After the show wraps up at
yeah.
Lord Gasumba After Dark.
Oh
That's
dear.
gonna be the shortest lived Twitch partnership ever.
Oh
Yeah, I
my.
was just gonna say, tank him before he starts. Okay, so let's keep this clean. Let's begin with the chalice.
Okay.
And it's not the
That's not
chalice you
clean.
think it is either. Yeah, well, no, it's not that one, Eric. Ah,
Oh, okay.
okay. This is a group of 16 wealthy, successful Sembian merchants, plus a few trusted servants and hired bodyguards working under them. They have lots of funds, but they have no particular desire to expend them all in the long, arduous, and distasteful, due to bickering, ongoing process of rebuilding Sembia to greatness post-Shadowvar invasion and the associated war. Not when they can secretly use that very same wealth to enrich themselves now and in the future by corrupting or blackmailing courtiers across the heartlands and up and down the Sword Coast to do their bidding, so as to make the chalice the power behind the throne in a dozen cities or more, and then in vital resupply way-stop centers along the trade routes in between. So, if on your journey you need new wagon wheels, remounts, firewood, clean water, new lanterns and oil for same, or even wagons, the chalice controls the supplies and the prices, and it's their coffers you're filling. Right now, the chalice is busily trying to arrange accidents for stubborn courtiers who won't play with them, and get dirt on courtiers who might, and tighten their hold on courtiers and officials, such as, tax collectors, guards, inspectors, and viziers, who will and have in scores of places, large and small, in the Sword Coast and Heartlands regions. The chalice has hiring needs for adventurers to be their agents or dupes, framed for deeds their agents have done, and wants adventurers who get in their way to get wiped out by rival adventurers that they do control, led by Lord, in quotation marks Lord, self-styled Lord, Beradrin, Amancer of Selgaunt, who seems to act in accord with his longtime friends and fellow chalice leaders, Dernthon Scornadar and Hasdrar Vanthrin, both also of Selgaunt. The chalice has resident agents contacts in Athkatla, Scornubel, Baragost, Waterdeep, several in Waterdeep, and at least one hired adventuring band, the Circle of Daggers Drawn, and Neverwinter, and all of the Sembian cities. Something fatal recently happened to their agent in Westgate, so their gloves, armed and dangerous field agents, is what I mean by gloves, are very active there right now, trying to find out who beheaded Feldrin Orskin in an alleyway and avenge him. The most formidable of these gloves is a sorcerer by the name of Cordron Volk. So that's the chalice. First of our three. Don't worry, I'll be shooting all these to you, Jay, in the
That's awesome.
Discord.
That's very,
Wow.
So you
and
post-
Yep.
there's no reason you cannot use that in your Greyhawk game.
No reason at all. You just file off the names and use your Greyhawk names.
It's
So
so
you think Ironwall down there on the
Irongate.
southeast?
You mean
Yeah.
Irongate?
Yeah, Irongate.
Yeah.
The city of Irongate sounds perfect for that area. Sundee,
Yep.
Irongate, South Province. It
Yep.
sounds like yes. They remind me a little bit of the Knights Templar as far as monetarily, right? It sounds like they're
Yeah.
trying, as far as cornering the market and all the other kings and
Sinches
stuff are
is
getting
strong
mad.
in that area, so
Yeah.
might, yeah. Mhm.
Yeah, very, very cool. So as when Ed comes up with some great new stuff, he always sends us copies of it, and we are able to post it on Cannon Fire or wherever, put it into a Dropbox. So speaking of that, we have a lot of people on. If you don't mind, I'm gonna do this 2 times tonight. All right, and this is just because we're really excited. Real quick, flip this over. So this just came out. If you haven't gotten this yet, this is okay. Wait to see this, Ed. Thanks to Rich Longitalis, Oranier, and all the authors. I'm one of them, and there's a whole bunch of them. Every location in Greyhawk has its own postcard now for the novice, for the new person. It comes in, and as you can see, there's some information here. They're all here. This is a large file, but Rich has connected it to a Dropbox link. I'll give you the link in a second. And see, look, it's raised. Look at how awesome that looks. Here's the South Province raised, and a little. Scott Casper wrote this: a realm filled with political intrigue, with predominantly evil rulers. A little synopsis, and then a general discussion on it. Country-specific resources, adventures in this realm include, all the way down, adventures in nearby areas, and then it goes to the next one. And I'm just gonna, because this is my show here, and I can do these things here. Oh, Free City of Altamira is here, so as well, I got I get the only Fanon location. Thank you, Rich, for being so kind to me. And here, Free City at the crossroads between Elven, Dwarven, Human, and Humanoid realms. So this is available for everyone. I'm going to click the link right now. Please feel free to go right in the Dropbox and download this. So a great resource for everyone, as long as Jay can figure out where I put the shout out. There it is. Okay. So we'll do that a little bit later in the show as well. Just noting that the community's stepping it up with some really great things for people, and that's a wonderful resource for you if you just want to go. Hey, I've never ventured in Tusmit. Right, Eric, or I've never ventured in Rotic, or I've never ventured in All, or so and that's something cool. So, and Ed Balfrin is shouting out your Fate of the Norns Kickstarter every 15 minutes. Every 15 minutes, yes.
Cool.
Please check that out, and if it interests you, please sign up for Ed's Kickstarter for Fate of the Norns.
Yeah, because we need it to fund, because I need to eat.
It's beautiful looking stuff. Really, it's really awesome. So cool. There you go. All right. So a little sidebar there. Couple questions. Ed, is the Harpers a secret society, or is it's out front society, has secret goings on behind the scenes?
Yeah, it's the latter.
Okay.
It's always been years and years ago. I was asked by TSR in-house designers when when I was doing all these turnovers in 1986 and inundating them with FedEx packages about the realm so they could build the first box. They said, so what exactly is the Harpers anyway? Are they like, what are they, commies? And I said, no. I said, no, they're the Sierra Club.
Okay.
And they said, what? I said, they're the Sierra Club with weapons. And they're led by Aragorn, and they want you to go home and stop paving their wilderness. And yeah, and they don't like tall poppies. So they cut down the tall poppies because they think any ruler who gets too powerful, power corrupts, and the ruler gets out of hand. They just want the reach to be a little less so that all the reaches of all the rulers are offsetting. And that means the common folk have a chance to breathe. Right. Because no ruler has a chance to put his full weight on your throat in his, jackbooted heel, because he has to worry about the ruler next door. So that was their tactic, but it was really like, hey guys, can we just make room for everybody? And they're so misunderstood.
It seems like it. We had 2 questions integrating that the Harpers or a similar type group that into Greyhawk, and how do the ranks, specifically Harper ranks, work? There were 2 questions from the audience. So are Harpers neutral good, you think, too? That's another question. Roughly?
Oh, I think a lot of them are chaotic good.
Chaotic good. Okay.
They do their own thing. Yeah. They sort of my big boss has shown up at my door and said, we're really a little concerned about how many people you're killing. It's it's bad PR. And you go, oh, that wasn't me. That was a mistake. But I'll try and make sure that nothing like that happens. And then the moment he leaves, he says, could you arrange an accident to happen to him so I can go right on with what I'm doing? You see, some of them are more chaotic than neutral. But yes, some of them are very neutral good. They will even work against certain Harper causes they don't agree with because they say, no, that's inappropriate for my locale or this kingdom, or I am not going to do that to my neighbors. Because it's like, everybody gets bad ideas or power hungry. It's sort of like there will be people in a large multinational corporation who think that the boss, the entrepreneur who started the thing, is a flake and he's getting increasingly power mad. But you don't want to take him down. You don't want to push him out of the company, and you don't want to ruin your company. You just want to thwart some of the things he does, have them run into difficulties because it'll keep him busy so he doesn't come up with any other clever ideas. Well, we fix things around here. So there's a lot of Harpers like that. Okay.
Yeah.
And but it's like they said in Masada, the Jews to the Romans in Masada. Yeah, we will fight each other like cats and dogs, Roman, until you come along, and then we will unite against the enemy. And a lot of the Harpers are like that. They will do anything against the enemy, and the rest of the time it's like, hey, I like to grow my orchids. Why the heck would I go out and do this with you? Which is the best way to run them, because until your players cotton on to that, they can't manipulate them or goad them the way you can easily goad a guard who's got standing orders and is wearing a uniform and is right in front of you. You have to role play. You have to take people as they come, and you have to do what you need to do in real life. Everyone's an individual. Let's treat with them as an individual, not treat them like a thing. Like Terry Pratchett said, all evil begins when you start treating people like things.
It's very detailed, Jason. Here's the entire book on the Code of the Harpers. It's very, very detailed. So integrating, Eric, here's my idea. Take some existing NPCs, sorry, Jason, mostly from the Sergeant era, or like the Free City of Greyhawk box set has the Torch of Anaxander, the Fellowship of the Torch would be good, because they're kind of all... But yeah, they'd be great.
I love that group. They show up in every Greyhawk campaign I've ever run.
They're fantastic. And Krellin's Arrows and all those groups, and make a consortium that would be similar to the Harpers. I think that would work in Greyhawk. What do you think about that?
Easily. Especially in Greyhawk, in the domain of Greyhawk itself.
Yeah. Because
you have Nerif Ghazghal, who exists because he's seen as a neutral body that isn't aligned with any of the other groups. And so his job is to go around and make sure that he continues to be needed as a neutral body, which means you have to go whop off the poppies like Ed talked about to bring any of group down that gets too powerful. And that includes Ayuz, that includes Nyron, that includes Firandi. And since he doesn't want to actually murder people, because that would be bad for business, he just wants to keep them occupied.
Yeah, as
Ed was talking about. I could totally see the Greyhawk having a group like the Harpers that is designed
like,
just to
keep
everything even.
Mordenkainen and active neutrality. That kind of sounds very much like.
Yeah, Mordenkainen's up here, though, on that grandiose scale, whereas I think that this is a little bit more behind the scenes on a person-to-person scale,
but
which I think is what the Harpers do more, right? The Harper, it's good. It's some great thought-provoking discussion, because I don't think that organization really. There's a lot of like secret societies that exist in Greyhawk, but there's none that's like the Harpers. I don't think, unless some of you out there in the audience think there's one. I don't think there is, but I don't see why there couldn't be. I have my Order of Ulick, which is all over the place. They're in the Vespi, we're in the Shieldlands, Greyhawk City, Hardby, but it's a knighthood. It's more like this against evil, right? It's not subterfuge. There's a little bit, but there's not like a major amount of it. So I think it's a different style of play, and it's not. Yeah. And
in my group from Living Greyhawk, we had the Ephra Lachati, which were the vigilant eyes of Jeff, which is what the Grand Duke was using just to keep tabs on what's going on, because he hated being surprised by things.
Yeah.
And so
you got a bunch of good ones. Yeah.
So it's just his is mostly an information gathering society. Keep tabs on what's going on in the Court of the Land, what's going on in Ket, what's going on in Vissel. What is that mage up to in that valley? Because he can't really send his own scouts up there because that provokes the wizard.
Yeah.
And so he hires people they go through the vigilant eyes. That way there's plausible deniability, where all their orders are given by Dagnabbit. What's that old television shows where everything explodes whenever
Mission Impossible.
Mission Impossible. That's how he gives all his orders. So he has plausible deniability if the wizard catches the mage of the valley catches one of his spies.
Cold. I don't think the Circle of Eight's like the Harpers. I really don't. I don't think so. No. Yeah. See, I agree. Now, Jason Zoe says Narbin Geller would be a Harper. Probably. Yes. Yeah, I agree on that. That he would be that. So, how about ranks? There was another question on that, Ed, about how the ranks.
Yeah. Because the thing about the Harpers is, it's more sort of cells, like your classical resistance movement. And of course, in these days we say terrorist movement, but I mean, it's decentralized, and there are Harper go-betweens, roving agents who just come by and tap on your bedroom window at 3 a.m. when you're trying to sleep and say, "So, we thought you might need this, and what's up? Tell me the latest." And then they wander off. Or you might be providing a safe house for that guy for one night, and you don't get much sleep because you sit up talking until the wee hours, but people's ranks are very fluid and self-styled, but everybody really knows that there are senior Harpers, as in veterans, the lowly Harpers, the newbies and so on, and master Harpers. And master Harpers are the ones that you acknowledge. Lady Steele was one. Elminster, you don't mess with these people, and everybody knows. It's like in pro football teams, a Hall of Famer, okay, or a first ballot Hall of Famer who's still playing. You know not to mess with them. Everybody knows, but they don't have badges. They don't have little ranks. They don't give you a cert for correctly laying and lighting a fire in 5 minutes or something like that. It's not that sort of organization. It's a sort of, your influence can wax and wane. Remember what I was saying last time I bloviated about, some Harper members agree with this particular little Harper project and really help it, and others just say, yeah, I'm gonna sort of go slow on that. I'm gonna sort of thwart that thing the boss is doing. Well, that's the thing. If you have so much respect that everybody goes, whoa, and does what you want without hesitation, enthusiastically, and devoting their whole selves to it, then you have influence, you have clout, and you are a master Harper. If they sort of go, okay, I'm glad he's gone. Yeah, I'll wait until he comes around next month, and then I'll tell them what a hard time I had. Okay, that's a Harper without much influence. So that's lowly rank. But no, they don't have ranks. It's not a military or paramilitary organization. Thank goodness.
Right.
Not everything is. I think that is a source of continuing friction in fictional settings and in the real world, when things that are better not done militarily acquire a military mindset, whether they acquire uniforms or badges or formal ranks or not. Like when you hear police forces talk about civilians, that would include them themselves, because they are civilians, not military, but they stop thinking of themselves that way. And that would be death to the Harpers, or because they would be turning into something else.
Right.
They would be turning into a military or paramilitary organization. And that would cause them to become a more easily hit target than they are now. And something that some rulers who can sort of say, I've got real problems, I don't have to worry about these flakes.
Yeah.
Well, if these flakes suddenly have TV ads saying, we're looking for a few good men, and doing the Marines, now I have to pay attention to them, because they're everywhere. They're on my doorstep. Because as long as they don't portray themselves as that ambitious and that organized, some rulers will choose to ignore them.
Do they need to? Some of our Greyhawkers has a question. Is the requirement to join up be a harper in the logistics of the game? Is it? Do you have to be able to play an instrument? That's it. No, nothing like that. No.
No, because
It's
if you can sing or if you can do the spoons,
okay, as long as you can do some kind of musical.
you can help. If you can slap your thigh in rhythm and keep the beat. Perfect example of at the end of I've forgotten the name of the show now. It was all about the news, and there was a funeral for the head of the network, and in the garage, one of the younger relatives was playing his bass, his cello, and they did a pickup of the time. That's why I went to Memphis. And as the people listened to it, they'd wander in, sit down in the garage, and start thumping the thing they were sitting on in time. That's good enough to join in for a performance. And remember also, if you go rural anywhere in the world, and this happens in the fictional realms too, a lot of the singing is just doing the words in time, not really carrying a tune because I'm tone deaf. But I know enough to chant along and not screw up and do the timing. So everybody around me is really singing up and down. I'm going la, 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 la. And that's okay, because I'm a farmer. I'm not expected, but I'm respecting the thing and I'm joining in. And that's good enough for the harper performance thing. And the thing is, if somebody says you're a harper and doesn't say you're no longer a harper, you're a harper. If they trust you enough, they'll give you a harper pin.
Okay.
If they don't like you enough, they'll take it away. And they might even steal it so you don't realize you're without it, because that means you're on probation. If they come in, knock you to the floor, rip off your clothing and rip the harper pin from around your neck or wherever you've hidden it, and then walk out tramping on your bruised body, I think they're sending a message.
Here's the message.
The message.
Ride with the power of boot.
The message.
So Ed, a quick follow-up on your comment with the Harpers.
Yes.
Please do.
Yeah.
When you said that if they solidified, it became more of a military organization and a structure, is that pretty much what Kelvin did with the Moonstars?
Yep. Because, except that Kelvin wasn't making it a big military organization like an army. But yes, he was making it into an elite strike force.
It's something that was now a tangible threat.
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
And that's why it split off from the Harpers, because all the rest of the Master Harpers were saying, "What are you doing? You idiot. This is not how we operate." And Kelvin was saying, "It is how I operate, and I am James T. Kirk of the Starship Enterprise, so you want it."
That's cool.
And then they threw him down and stole his Harper pin.
Well, no. What they said is, it's terrible when they let power go to their heads. Isn't this the very thing we're fighting against? But he's a chosen of Mistra, so we'll have to let Mistra take care of him. Mistra, could you see that over there? Could you just apply the boot? Thank you.
That's awesome.
And the boot came along, and his name was Elminster.
Yes. That's awesome.
Now, why does Kelvin not rule the world? And why did Elminster not rule the world? Because they were busy booting each other, giving your player characters room to breathe.
Now, with that, there's there may be a hair of that, but on a grander scale. They're not Harpers, but the Circle of Eight tends to do that to neutralizes the governments. That's what a lot of that is being done, but it's for a different purpose, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a good point. Real good point there, Ed, on that.
And we want everybody to be different, because that's what makes life interesting.
Yeah.
And it also means, as a player character, if you're sitting around the gaming table, you can't reliably do this, and that will happen. It's like, well, we better try this and run like heck if it doesn't. And you want things to be that way because it keeps it interesting, it keeps the uncertainty, and it gives your poor beleaguered dungeon master a chance to ring the changes on things.
Sometimes you need change is good. Sometimes. Sometimes, yeah, see, and I think that's a lot of campaigns I see. They don't know how to comfortably make changes. A lot of times you get in a rut, and that's one of the reasons why we have so many different adventure groups in my campaign, because we don't want to get in a rut.
One of the things I did that most shocked people, we were doing a playtest on one of my rare visits to TSR, and they did one of the things is we walk up to the King's Guard at the gate of the castle, and we slap them across the face with one hand and draw our swords with another hand, because that'll start a brawl. And the moment the guy did that, and I'm the dungeon master, I had the guard lean into him and said, "Oh, I love it. Can you see me and when my shift is over?"
So,
and the whole table went shock silent. But then they were role playing, because what do we do now?
Anyone of note at that table that you remember? Like, Zeb, was Zeb there? Cook?
No, Zeb was not there. Dave Sutherland was there.
Oh, Dave Sutherland. Okay.
I'm trying to remember. Brian Thompson was there, observing but not playing, head of the book department at the time, and he was killing himself laughing. He was giggling like a schoolgirl in the corner, because it was like, now let's see what you do, fellas. And he was also thinking, yeah, code of conduct. We can never publish this.
Yeah.
So, I mean, but I had successfully shocked them out of their, we can do this, and this will happen.
Right. That's a good thing, and that is that's a key to being a DM. Twists, shocks, absolutely. All right, so here's a good organization for us in Greyhawk. There's two of them that are interlinked, I believe, Eric and Anna, and that is, as we talk magic, we talk the Silent Ones of Keyland, along with the Seekers, and this is a Gary Julian creation. I was hoping Gary would be on in time, but I don't see him in the chat yet. But the Silent Ones don't really like other people using magic, which is really kind of disturbing. So, hey, John, Blue Box, what a great stream you had today. Awesome to see, and thank you so very much for that cheer. John is a member of our new stream team as well, and I'll relink that, the Greyhawk Creatives, and it's going very well. I think we're up to 9 or 10 members already, and there's the link for the creatives. You'll have a one-stop shop for all the streamers and crafters that are all together in the community. So, the Silent Ones of the Lonely Tower, who oversaw training and guarded magical secrets closely. They acted swiftly against any who would all gather such power in the kingdom. So, Eric, Anna, what are your thoughts on the Silent Ones? They're kind of a real thorn. They can be a real thorn in the side of player characters, especially.
Eric, please go first.
We have all sorts of fun with. We had all sorts of fun with the Silent Ones when we were in living Greyhawk. So they were kind of a thorn in players who really wanted to be wizards. But we found a way that you solve one secret society with another. So in Jeff, we created the Enosi, who were the Greyhawk, or the Wizards of Jeff. And essentially they existed solely to keep themselves out of the hands of the Silent Ones.
Okay.
And so whenever you played a living Greyhawk character, you had the option of joining the Enosi, or they would tip off the Silent Ones about you.
That's kind of awesome. You use the enemy to give you leverage that way. That's awesome.
Yes. And so all the wizards were part of this. It's kind of like the Hermetic Order from Ars Magica. There was a very quiet order that they all knew each other, and they all tried to keep wizard wars down to a minimum, because that attracted attention and would have the Silent Ones on top of them. And then they would share information when it was in their interest to do so. So it was a good way to have players get access to scrolls and spell books, because if you did things the Enosi wanted, then the higher ups let you have access to their books. And they use players to go on quests, particularly to find magic items and magical ingredients they didn't want to be bothered doing because they were busy building things in their tower. And so they made player characters go off and do it for them and then promised them access to copy one of the spells out of their books. And so he tried to take a challenge that the Silent Ones presented and turn it into an RP opportunity.
So,
and the whole time there's always the threat the Silent Ones are going to come down and smush everybody.
So the ever mysterious Tim is on. I want to read the final paragraph of this too, which links all this in. Eric, Tim. It says here, lawless wizards even eventually took to calling themselves free mages, only in the cosmopolitan Gradsel, which is in the very southeast corner, where they act under the protection and support of Duke Lucien and the Archmage Drawmage, who has that underwater realm. Do free mages gather together as a guild, calling themselves the Sea Mages, Tim? There you go. Offering hiring themselves out to ship captains for travel and exploration. My buddy Tim, who's been playing in my game since 1980, who's on and DMs in my campaign a little bit here and there, created a Sea Mage class. So I just wanted to tie. Hey, there's perfect tie-in right there. See the way how things work? Sometimes it'll be good at it, you got to be lucky, right? And it's a perfect tie-in from this discussion. Very cool. Yeah, boom, exactly. So the Silent Ones, the Seekers and the Silent Ones go at it each other, right, Eric? The Seekers are out getting knowledge and bringing out knowledge, and the Silent Ones are pushing knowledge back, and they're both, like you say, they're very secretive.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And
I assume, like what we did in Jeff, you could export that anywhere. That there'd be all these little groups have popped up trying to protect themselves from the Silent Ones. And you could put them in the Yeomanry, you could have them in Sterich, you could have them meeting in the back in the noble villas of Neil Dra, where they can, of course, use magic because they're nobles.
Yeah.
And
kind of like not being able to go hunt on the lands kind of deal almost, Oh, those lands are just for the nobles, Ed, right? You can't go there and I
assume it would be kind of like Les Liaisons d'Angerus, where they said you can do anybody you want as long as you're quiet about it. And that was the way I always assumed Neil Draw was you can do whatever you want,
right,
as long as you're quiet about it. If you don't attract attention.
So Ed, in reverse, do you have an organization that tries to pull out the capability of mages for the common people in FR, in the realms?
Oh, there are lots of them.
Okay.
But see, here's one of the things that rather than like big secret societies, that's where both guilds and merchants, informally organized merchants come into play. Because here's the thing, the far-sighted merchants are sort of like people in our modern real world who realize that they have to really pay their workers well, because otherwise who's going to buy their expensive cars and SUVs and a third toaster and a 40-second microwave oven and a new kettle that glows or something? Because if you're not paying them enough, they can't buy your stuff. And therefore, everybody over time gets poorer.
Yeah.
So the smart ones want to lift the laboring class. They want to enrich the middle class because they themselves want to get stupendously rich, not by gathering every more unto themselves and making the people outside the gates go hungry, because that eventually means the people outside the gates realize they've nothing left to lose and they storm the gates and they come for you. But the smart people realize we've got to make everybody wealthy, everybody, the common man, the lowly people have to be exalted. Not in the religious sense.
Right.
Just so I've been off.
Rich.
Well, okay, and in the real world, this was the purpose of the American dream.
Mm-hmm.
It's like everybody can make it. Oh, there's the carrot. Now, if in the realms you are born into poverty, say down on the docks, and your parents work like dogs in the warehouses and bringing fish in, and you are co-opted as a young age to help take the fish out of the nets and then mend the nets or scale the fish or head and tail them and then toss them in a sack, and the guild guy takes the sack away, and it's back-breaking labor and you stink of fish, and you don't get taught anything because you're working dawn to dusk. You think, I just saw this guy out of the corner of my eye, and he's got a gold gilded cloak, and look at those cool shoes. I want those. Now, if you don't see any way of getting them except by mugging that guy, that's what you might try and do, however wrong-headed that is. But if the guild guy sees you looking at that guy in the cloak and says, hey, keep your nose clean, do what we tell you in the guild, one day you could have a better cloak and shoes than that. You go, really? You know, and that is your drive.
Mhm.
And there are people in the realms who see the way to pulling the kings down, not necessarily overthrowing them, but pulling them back down so they're beholden to us, and pulling everybody else up, is to frustrate the nobles and build us up into the, and that's happening all the time. Now, you don't have to have it happen in the laps of the player characters with violence and big upheavals. It can just be the ongoing fight of every day to pull yourselves up by your bootstraps. And then as an adventurer, you're making an end run around this hard drudgery work into, let's have fun and kill things. Oh, I mean, did I say that out loud?
No, it's
But then you
good,
can, oh,
man.
sorry.
No,
I was going to say, there you can have political organization in your campaign, meaning you can have the party being hired, especially if there's like a bard or some other charismatic, to actually go out and tell the masses what to do in order to persuade them to grab their rights, so to speak, to fight for their rights, politically organizing it, and so on and so forth, in order to make it dangerous. And then some of the high and mighty will come after the characters and try to stop it. So you can kind of make a fantasy version of real political struggle and stuff, and make it interesting. And also that the corrupt sideshows that actually earn a living on subverting the system and stuff will also be very much against what the characters are doing, so to speak. But and then there might be the good church or some good priest and stuff who sees what it is, so you can to gather allies and to change things. And that might be something that the party, if you play it out right and motivate your and don't talk this openly about it, just say that these people are being treated so poorly or whatever, and use other terms, and let the players find out how bad it is for someone and so on, and then naturally ally themselves. If you don't railroad it in, you just you coerce the players secretly in order to do stuff like that and work for someone, and then you can set them up into all sorts of political mischief and stuff that gets into it. You can have them work for an organization without them knowing it, so to speak, without paying a membership due, without swearing allegiance, just by coaxing them into believing in those traits, and that needs to be done, so to speak. And the players will realize, oh, we need to go out and do this. So the characters go out and do it, and then the high and mighty come and say, oh, there we have the villains of this terrorist horrible organization that is trying to upend my trade monopoly or my magical domain, or holding it secret of this, or whatever it is, so to speak. And the evil doer, the evil ruler, or something like that, or the evil church, or of temple of some sort, or cult, or whatever it is. So you can you don't need to be overt about it. You can be very subvert about it, or very subtle about it. You can be secret in the way that don't tell the players what you're doing, so to speak. Just try to secretly get them into and try to persuade them to be murder hobby for whatever organization. That often works.
You're always doing that, Anna. You're always tempting them with
I'm
that.
always tempting my players to join the dark side or whatever side, so to speak, or the good side too. I'm tempting them to join any side and then see what side they want to join, and then go from there. So, yep.
Eric, I know you got some other hidden secret organizations in Jeff that you want to share. Let's hear it.
Well, I want to get to that, but I have a question for you first.
Sure.
Based on Ed's comment, where a lot of these groups would be looking to encourage people to better themselves through the American dream kind of thing, of like, we need to have everyone be a lot more wealthy. Would that apply to Greyhawk with its feudal underpinnings.
I'm going to tell you where
Sure.
I think it applies. For example, Greyhawk City, I think that's what the guilds are attempting to do.
Mhm.
There's
Yes.
thank you. The guild system in Greyhawk City is brilliantly written up. And I think that is a spot where they realize if everyone's in the slums, there's nothing to steal, right? And there's yeah. So yeah, I think that's a spot where now I think maybe in some of the more enlightened areas, Furiundi is very rural, but maybe in the former Great Kingdom in its early heyday, it could be as well. But I
Mhm.
think in Greyhawk City especially, Anna, what are your thoughts on that too, about an area that would
I would say that first we have the obvious one, yeomanry, where the actual the
Democracy,
lower
yeah.
people kind of
Hey, Will.
that is the most close to real world democracy in the formal system, where it actually formally works that way. But then you have some of the interesting ones, I think, are the real feudal nations. They go from Keyland, Furiundi, Nyrond to the former Great Kingdom, where I think that in some cases, like in Furiundi especially, where the king wants this, the king wants to have a firm, established trust in the lower class, so to speak, and there is and that's something that is classical from a lot of European feudal countries, where it actually the king often allied himself with the common man against the nobility, so to speak. And the nobility had to gang up and limit the power of the king. And in order for the king to find allies, he went lower, so to speak, in class and allied himself with the common man in order to assure that the nobles wouldn't overthrow him and stuff like that. So, and I can see that happening, especially in Nyrond and Furiundi. I can see that the king, where you have a good king that wants people to be thriving because he wants a lot of well-fed soldiers and smart people who can build him fortifications and be wizards and clerics in his military, and because that gives the king the realm power, so to speak. But I also can see, and some nobility are probably totally agreeing with the king, but other nobility are more greedy, looking for personal power. They're looking to have their own grandiose palace and stuff like that, rather than giving money to both the king and letting common people carrying around sacks of gold and so on that could belong to me, and so on and so forth. So
That sounds like Keyland.
yeah,
it does.
exactly. Keyland, I think Keyland is full of this because they have the oldest rigid structure where a lot of pomp, circumstance, and
And they have the structure to do
formality.
it.
Exactly, and
With the court of the
formality.
land.
Exactly,
Yeah.
formality have gone into almost dogmatic display of power and kind of pomp and circumstance and stuff. So there you have a lot of that. In Furiundi, it's a much younger nation. They are still more kind of building institutions and stuff. They've only been around for a few hundred years instead of a few thousand. And now Great Kingdom now that has collapsed, and now it's being rebuilt in the north and in the south differently, so to speak.
Yeah,
And in the
that's
south,
true.
it's more like, in the south, I see there you have the guilds, you have the temples of Silchus and stuff grabbing. So their trade all of a sudden popping up rather than old institutions and stuff. Now businessmen and other entrepreneurial types starting to see a chance to come on, now we want to grab power. We don't want to have all this kind of old stale whatever. We want to take a chance here to do things. And Savener, the Overking, he kind of grasped on that and used them in order to lever himself into power. The problem is that now they are not that keen on going to major war and fund stuff for that way, so to speak. So his power base is very good to get him into power, but it's not that power base is not that good at making sure he can wield power, because they don't want costly wars and stuff. They want trade agreements and money rolling in and stuff like that. So there is interesting controversies and shifting power interests, so to speak. And sometimes the power base of a ruler or an organization might not always agree with the motives and the doings of the high and mighty, so to speak. So you can have a lot of interesting controversies between there that the characters can be inserted into, so to speak, into these convoluted power struggles.
Yeah, to quote the goons, what is this man's most fervent wish? Caesar, he wishes to die rich, and so he shall. Give him the sack of gold to hold, and then strangle him.
Yep.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yep.
Very cool. So, all right, Eric, what do you got? You got another organization, and then we're gonna hear another Ed tidbit here after that.
We got the one I mentioned earlier, which were the Everlagati, which are vigilant eyes, and because we used Welsh as our model for Flan, for our little backwards town or backwards country of Jeff, and they were, as I said, mostly watchers, information gatherers for the Grand Duke of Jeff to keep eyes on everything. And the other group that we had from Living Greyhawk days were a thieves guild by the name of the Midnight Ravens. And they had divided. They also went through the cell technique that Ed was describing earlier, where nobody actually knows other people in their cell. And in fact, we made that a requirement of when players joined this as part of the Living campaign, you couldn't tell people you were part of this organization. And if you did tell people you were part of this organization, the DM was supposed to report it back to the Triad members and say, this player is blabbing about being part of the Thieves Guild. And then you get a little email saying, you are no longer part of the Thieves Guild. And the Midnight Ravens were grouped into 3 different pyramids headed by an aspect who was that focus. So there was the aspect of strength, the aspect of knowledge, and the aspect of stealth. And they kind of, so the strength were the ones who deployed billy bullies to go around and whack people with sticks if needed, and to be the extorters and to shake people down. Then you had the aspect of knowledge, who were the blackmailers. And then you had the aspect of stealth, who were the burglars and the robbers. Okay. And they all were underneath of the higher up, who was the Convergence, who was the head of the Midnight Ravens, who also happened to be the spy master in charge of the Everlagati and worked for the Grand Duke of Jeff.
So multiple layers there.
Yes, which we never told the players. I guess that was 15 years ago. I guess it's okay.
Now, is this was Grand Duke missing at this time, or was he back? Was it at that?
He was back.
He was back at that 5-year point. Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
He was back, and we kind of got the idea of, like, I don't know if you remember the old Blackmore adventures with William Fletcher, I believe, the Fetch. Okay. We kind of lifted that idea of having Gallimar Withington was our master manipulator behind this the scenes, and he had decided that there was probably going to be a thieves guild in Jeff anyway. Why not have him be in charge of it? That way they could control it and push it in different directions. They had to take a very light hand. He gave the aspects pretty much full control, but they said keep it below a certain level. He didn't want to see a whole lot of murdering. He didn't want to see a whole lot of violent crime.
Because then it would become out in the open.
Yes. He said, particularly go after people who are like not from here. Travelers.
Well, that's what they do in the Greyhawk. And they go after the foreign quarter people. They don't want to go after the people native to the town, because then word gets out. Yeah,
I believe the foreign quarter had a highest thief per square inch radio of the rest of the city. And so he was using the Thieves Guild, his Midnight Ravens, to be that roguey organization and control how it did by building up himself.
A little bit of a secret police aspect too, a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit. Now, keep in mind, this is Jeff. We weren't very big. So even our big, there was only like 20 people in this thing, because we didn't have the population to hide in it. And they were doing a lot of work in, leaving town, coming back. Because you want to have it be like believable for the amount of population. But players love the Midnight Ravens, and they love the mystery of it, because we refused to tell them who the Convergence was. They never used the name of the leaders. They always called themselves the aspect of strength, knowledge, and stealth. And that intrigued people, and it really got them interested. And the more you leave, when we put out our meta organization, it said benefits. This is on need-to-know basis alone. You have to join before you find out what the benefits are.
Speaking of meta orgs,
they joined in droves.
great tie-in to the Meta Org. Casey Brown's working on multiple Meta Org Living Greyhawk discussions for 2022. Just so you're aware, they're going to be working on them.
Awesome.
Just so yes, that's already in the works. We're looking for like second or third week in January to have the first one. So that
he's shaking down Jose, who was our Meta Org coordinator.
He actually went to Eric Mona. So and how was it playing with Eric in that game? By the way, my game a couple weeks ago. How was that? When you got to play with Eric Mona?
That was fun.
Okay.
I mean, Eric and I, our paths don't cross that often.
Right.
So getting to see him again and seeing him having so much fun, playing that character was just like, oh, this is fun.
All right.
This is I can relax and enjoy this.
Good.
It's just fun.
Great to hear. Eric will be back for the next one whenever we set the next one up. Just know, which is great because we get to see our Halfling Guardian friend come back as well. But we'll have another special guest come in. In fact, Eric, I've reached out to Mike Shea a couple times, so I'd like to have Mike come in. Mike's a great guy, and see if he would love to play with that group for one in the next time.
You realize, of course, this means he's going to make our opposition even more formidable.
Well, Ed, you did say it was challenging so close that it was almost a TPK, and I kind of like to put you on the edge of your seats, but you were all successful. It was fun, so yeah.
Wasn't it a TPK the time I played before that too?
I've never TPK'd the party.
Yeah, I don't want to be on the edge of my seat. I want to have my head. I want my head cradled in the lap of a lovely thing that drops grapes into my mouth.
Time to bring back that Fox woman, Jay.
Yeah. Oh, that was a great one. Oh, I love Fox woman. One of my favorites of all time. I may put you on the ultimate favorite of all time, which a lot of people know, Monster, but I don't want to ruin it. So Anna knows which one it is. It's. I have my favorites. I have maybe I'll do that. I'll throw that one in on the next one.
It's a Nilborg, isn't it?
A Nilbogs? Oh, Nilbogs are great. My guys, so real quick, my guys tell me that if I ever put a Nilbog in a game again, they will beat me live to death on stream. So yes, because they just
there are people who will pay for that.
Yeah, I know, and they will, but yeah.
Nilbogs are
that guard that Ed had at the gate, for example.
Yes, they don't want it. Nilbogs are one thing they want to see. So Ed, before we get to your two more of your new ones, how about an organization that exists currently that maybe a lot of people don't know about, that's in published source somewhere of yours? Or a group of adventurers? Oh, here comes Time Lord's wife in. Great.
Well,
Kayla, what's up?
I'm trying to think of. You see, there's a whole sort of subgenre of successful adventuring bands that are semi-retired because they realize we're getting old. Eventually our knees are going to give out and our backs are going to give out, and we're not going to be able to outrun and outfight. So they start trying to think about settling down. So they start trying to think of using their largesse to buy real estate, so they can become landlords in large cities, so that they can have income streams, and so that they can afford full staff of servants, so to feed them and to run their bath for them when they get old and gray, sort of thing. So they start to semi-retire.
Okay.
And they run side fiddles, and they do these little, let's control the key warehouse here. Let's be the fastest coach company here. Let's be the only guy who can make replacement wagon wheels on this trade route. So in other words, just what I was talking about with that earlier power group. But there are a whole bunch of them in the realms, and we tend to forget about them because they don't get full coverage in the published adventures because they're not like cool.
Right.
They're not going to fight but they are the underpinnings, and in say Cormier,
they're not cool like the Seven Sisters are cool.
No, the Seven Sisters are also a power scale above.
Right.
True. They're sexy and blow you away. These are adventures getting long in the tooth, but like the ones in Cormier that had to be chartered. So they're the company of the Bronze Griffin, the company of the Hairy Manticore, the company of the whatever. Okay, and as they retire, they try and end up owning inns and taverns being the largest landlord for rooming houses in this city or that city over there, or 3 cities in a row. So no matter where you stop for the night, the money is going to end up in their coffers eventually. And those are the ones that don't get coverage, and there are lots of them. And if I talk them up a little bit more, then player characters who are getting long in the tooth, their players can start having children that they're going to groom to be replacement adventurers, and they can retire their originals. So they won't lose their beloved character that they started 20 years ago in real time to a TPK, because their character will be semi-retired until their son or daughter gets TPK'd and they come for revenge. Wahahaha. So there's a whole bunch of them in the realms, but they're almost a cabal. They're only a secret society because you aren't thinking about them in that way. And the other way of thinking of it is, okay, I start a great company in the real world, modern real world, and I know it's based on something that I think is going to be a fad. Let's say pet rocks, just to grab one out of the air. Okay, what's the smart thing for me to do when I'm making money hand over fist? Diversify.
Right, not just
start buying little businesses that have nothing to do with my main business. So if my main business, if I'm the buggy whip manufacturer and I see these railways taking off and then the Wright brothers succeeding, I don't want to go into a horseshoeing. I want to go into something that is diverse away from my main moneymaker, so that I can quickly shift sideways and still have income. And these adventuring groups are trying to do the same things. They're shifting and diversifying all over the place. And they also have a slight, if they're thinking about this, they have a slight wisp of desperation. So if you get in their way, look out. I'm getting older, kid. Get out of my way. I've only got the one kidney because I got a U-shaped one. So take your sword out of it. Thank you very much.
No, that's a good way of thinking about it. And that's so a lot of what I try and do, and I'm hoping a lot of Greyhawk groups do, where you have multiple groups, is that you take your adventuring groups and you make these connections with other NPCs, other adventuring groups, guilds, whoever. Not necessarily as as an antithesis or as a rival, but as an alliance, or as a another place for information, or another because that's how you build up, and that's how your campaign grows. That's how it breathes life into it. Is all these different levels of intrigue beneath the surface of your game. And
let me tell you a really cool story from the realms, really quickly.
Please, yeah, sure.
Years and years ago, Company of Crazed Ventures, so the very first adventuring band, 1978. They're adventuring on the streets of Waterdeep, and in front of them they see a shoe shine girl, except she's actually a boot shine girl, with her little stand, and she's shining boots, doing her thing, and the noble in front of them, who's having his boots shine, doesn't like the job she does, and just whacks her across the face, leaving her sprawled and half stunned, and all her stuff upset, and walks away without pay. And the group of adventurers look at that, and one of them says, I'm going to teach this bastard a lesson. And he goes after him, and he beats the crap out of the noble. The rest of them stand the little girl up, clean her stuff up, and then they pay her what the noble should have paid her. And then they give her the thumbs up and say, pass it on someday. So we go forward 7 years in real time.
Yes.
And we go through to a moment where the party is almost wiped out, and they're down to one person who's crawling and gets assisted by this fine, upstanding young woman who was Bootshine Girl.
I love that
said,
long term.
I'm paying it back, and rescues the party. And they were like open-mouthed around the table. But, it's the little moral lesson. What goes around comes around. And it makes you as a player think of the setting in a completely different way from then on. It's like, oh, okay. So just like in real life, if I behave like a good person, yeah, I may finish last a lot of the time, but somebody will remember that.
And actions, and that's a long-term campaign. Your actions, no matter how trivial, can mean a big difference down the road, and that's it. That you know of a great DM when they can do that, and it's like, oh my gosh, 4 years ago. Now, okay, sorry, I apologize to my guys who are watching or listening. They're lucky if they remember what I did last week, right? But they are long term. They remember the long term stuff. They remember like, oh my gosh, wow, I haven't seen that. I put that stupid a crown in, and it was a 25 year plot line. It went for that long, and it's kind of still going on. And yes, and Eric Mona's character that you met, Ed Varian Ford, when he was playing Luke Gygax, they found a tongue, and he stole it right at the end of the adventure and went gaseous form. A character neutral that Ralashaz priest that you happen to adventure with, first time you ever played. It was just like the entire audience that was watching that night remembers that action. To this day, they remember that guy did that and what happened. And that's the thing. That's the great thing about D&D, man. The memories. You get memories like almost like real life things that go on, and that's what's so cool. And that's what a secret society can do too, is embed things all over the place. Bring them out. Hopefully, I'm not babbling too much.
No.
Awesome.
Yeah. I just this connects. This discussion topic connects with me.
I just having blown away by the concept of 20-year campaign of
20-year plot line and a 41, but Ed's got me by 2 years. So. Yes. Oh yeah. No. They found it. It was in the Cairn Hills. They found a crown, and yeah, we went for it and I put that out for 20 years. Yeah.
Well, I get 3 years out of my players.
That's what's fun. That's what's fun about this game. If we've been around as long as Ed has or I have, that's what makes the game so charming. So.
When you're old as we are.
Exactly.
Yep.
Exactly. All right. So Ed,
he's charming.
I have a question for you, Ed. What is the that is still played maybe once in a blue moon, the oldest character? How many years? 42, 43 years? Did you playing games when you DM? Someone's player character.
1975.
So wow. So 47 years coming up. The character is.
Yeah.
Been around. That's awesome.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
That is awesome. What's up, Dwayne? 40.
And he hasn't washed in once in all. No.
Whose character is it, if I may ask?
The character was for Victor Selby.
Okay.
Who is now an eminent lawyer in Canada.
Okay.
And Trunian Regalis, his thief, and down in Undermountain, he rescued an elven maiden who was about to be sacrificed on an altar.
That's awesome.
She was smitten with being rescued and took him to Evermeet and married him. And he's been producing little half elves ever since.
That's so awesome. Hey, well, I got children and almost some grandchildren playing at this point in my game because not of half elves, mostly humans, but some half orcs here and there. Yeah, because that long in the game. So I'm sorry, I'm getting off on a tangent here. All right, Ed, what do you think? Do we want to hear the second new? We already heard about the chalice. You want to hear? Let's hear about the second one, the second new secret society Ed's going to give us.
Okay.
Sound good? All right, cool.
Here we go. The Tamers.
The Tamers. All right.
The name of this group is short for the Beast Tamers, not to be confused with the ancient Mithranan organization of the same name, whose work we saw remnants of in the original 1987 Realms box set. These are different Beast Tamers. These modern Tamers are dedicated to capturing monsters for resale to wealthy patrons who want guardians or a menagerie to boast about, or hit teams of marauding beasts to cause problems for rivals by raiding them. The Tamers are former mercenaries, so veteran adventurers in their own rights, who work with Rakshasas to get the monsters they need. These Rakshasas are petty rulers in various locales in Veldorn, the land of monsters, also known as the Beastlands, who use the Tamers to take away what one such ruler called troublesome tentacled things too mad or brutish or self-important to control their depredations, think of others, and work within any hierarchy that doesn't have them at the top. The Rakshasas all rule cities and give themselves various grand and fanciful titles as rulers, such as the Exalted of Kronsar, or the Vizier of Viziers, and the Satrap Undying. And they employ Kenku as their spies and go-betweens with the Tamers.
Nice.
Increasingly, these Kenku are taking part in all Tamer activities, almost certainly at the behest of the Rakshasas, and the Tamers don't quite know what to do about this, but they do seem silently pleased when something bad happens to a Kenku. The Tamers themselves are active up and down the Sword Coast, and inland southeast from the Tashalar down to and east along the Great Sea coast as far as Ulgarth. Most of their clients are around the Shining Sea, in the Vilhon, and up the Sword Coast. The Tamers are led by a warrior of prowess and a small arsenal of battle-useful worn and born magic items named Brost Rornadar, and a wizard by the name of Iskan Saurdolt, whose tutor, the beautiful but aged wizard Zayla Hundance, sings idly to herself like an old woman, happy in a kitchen, but hurls deadly spells in a fight, and has mastered the means of hanging multiple spells to go off in swift succession when she needs to slay many foes, which she often does when Sardult gets into trouble. She'll show up without warning and lay waste to his foes. And a usually silent, bald-headed rogue and fashion designer, Heit Devanthan Bralast. Lesser Tamers are known to include the rogue Rild Tather, who can never safely return to Athkatla undisguised for reasons, the cleric of Mask, Undril Malatam, and the sinister sardonic alchemist and poisoner, Alvar Zorsun, who's believed to be a doppelganger. And that's the Tamers.
And they are not of very nice ethos, I see. With Ed, you got me, Ed. Rakshasas are my favorite. So there you go. You just used them. I was like, oh, I love Rakshasas. So,
alrighty. Okay.
Yeah, that's awesome. So that fits right in with Lord Henry's menagerie right off the bat in Greyhawk City, because he's always looking for monsters and guardians and stuff. And you could easily utilize this in your Greyhawk game. Having the Beast Tamers, you could even have adventuring parties do missions for them, or even just join the entire organization and have. That's cool. What do you think, Eric? Anna, what do you think on that one?
I think it's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll be right back. I have to step.
Sure, no problem, Ed.
I think you can use it in Greyhawk. I think you could also use it in Neil Draw.
Yep.
Over in Keyland with all the nobles. There would be so many nobles interested in various guard creatures because they can't keep wizards officially because of those silent ones that we just talked about earlier in the show. And so having all the beasts as guardians would be also, there's the show off piece of, oh, look what I have added to my menagerie.
Yeah.
And I could definitely see that in Neil Draw.
Yeah, and he hit Golthar. Ed hit the whole of the Rakshasa Kenku. Great use of monsters that are on the little bit of the little darker side. Well, Rakshasa especially, but Kenku are character neutral for the most part. But they can have a nasty side to them too. So I love the whole thing. That's a really good one. Remember, these groups are new. Ed has come up first of all with the Chalice and the Tamers. I will have them in PDFs, and we can make sure that we can get them out to everyone. We're going to post it on Cannon Fire. We're going to post it somewhere. While Ed is off, Balfrin, can you link his Fate of the Norns as well? Please note his Fate of the Norns Kickstarter still running, and there it is. Check it out. It's some great Norse mythology and setting for you, and it's in Kickstarter now, and. So, all right, Azed had to step away for a second here. So how about this organization? This is a bad one in Greyhawk. The Sunseb Sodality. You ever heard of this one, Eric? I'm not sure. I think this is from I'm going to say it's either a Living Greyhawk Gazetteer or a recent. I'm not talking about recent, in the 300s dragon. So some debased humans worship Kargoth, king of the Death Knights, as a god, though they gain no spells for doing so. The Sun Sodality, a very secretive cult of undeath, spreads its devotion amongst him and other death knights. Devoid for the most parts of any hierarchy of codified drama, the chaotic cultists respect malevolence and above that only that raw power. Kargoth cares little for this supplication, though he has been adopted as a saint by renegade elements of Church of Hextor, who view him as an embodiment of villainy and discord, particularly in the North Kingdom. So there you go. So this is the Sun Sodality. Yeah, well, this could be. Yeah, I think this is published from a Dragon Magazine article. It's a nice one. It's a nice one because it mixes a lot of evil cults all together in a role. Hextor brings them all into one place under this. So
I love the name.
Yep.
Sun Sodality is just a cool name. Man.
Absolutely. Dragon 291, Jason Zavoda. Thank you so very much, Jason, for being there. Boom. So that is awesome.
That was a Gary Julian thing.
Well, Kargoth is.
Absolutely.
Kargoth is definitely, a great thing there.
I'm just going to the Greyhawk wiki to see where this came from. Yeah, I love the footnotes in those things mostly, so I can go hunt down things.
Yeah, Jason's, it is, and that's the wonderful thing about this community. Everyone contributes in their own little way, and it brings up a greater community. And look, Ed, I really, we all do. We appreciate all these ideas. They're just wonderful because, and I've said this before, Ed, if you're not stealing, you're not trying. Right?
Yeah. Okay. But the thing is, there's a part of me that wants the copyright holder of all of these world settings to keep them alive by publishing at least one official product a year.
We agree 100%, 1,000% on that, Ed. We do.
I would be willing to have one official product per edition.
All right. So,
okay. But it would be so cool if they left it up to the fans saying, no, here, we'll vet it because we're publishing it, but we won't design it. You guys come up with something and it has to be this long. And then you get what the community wants.
So I do have an upcoming meeting with Mr. Winninger. That doesn't mean it's going to go. It may last 5 minutes, but at least
it's always worth a try.
Yeah,
it would be so easy just to go to the DM's Guild, add one line.
Yep.
So I did
one
not.
One line is all it would take.
I'm not trying to embarrass anyone, but we had a GM's roundtable last week. And they were talking about Tasha, and we had 3 5e DMs. And I asked them if they knew who Tasha was, where Tasha came from, and blanks. And I said, it's Greyhawk, it's actually Igwolf, and and I think tangent here for me, WotC's sterilizing a lot of stuff, and I think it's, I would rather the settings have some meat to them still. That's just my opinion.
They've been using Greyhawk for spare parts for a while now.
Yeah.
But you know what? We're going to keep it alive here in this community and on these talk shows and in these games and playing on these streams and all. And hopefully maybe we get some, now that I got that check mark, who knows, maybe I'll get a little more, we'll all get a little more attention.
And every time they publish Tasha, people are going to be like, who's this Tasha person?
Yeah, exactly.
And then they research it, and then they're going to find out, because you can find all this information now because of this interwebs. Before it was a lot harder to find everything.
Yeah. It's a great point there.
Because the Greyhawk Wiki and all the job at the Earth Journal and Cannon Fire, they're all doing a great job making this information accessible to people.
It is, but a lot of, if the newer generation, if it's not in a new book, then it's like,
I don't know. I've been trying to buy some of the old stuff lately. Have you seen how expensive it's gotten on eBay?
I was going to say, there is more than
That's
one
why
collector.
I bought it a long time ago. There, Eric. So,
oh, man.
I'll say
lots
this.
of collectors.
I love Candlekeep Mysteries. We all know that. And I love Tony's adventure in it. And that stuff's awesome. Because you can take an adventure, and we had Ed, Tony, and you on, Eric, talking about Candlekeep Mysteries and how great it is. But you could take individual adventures out of that and utilize them for your own campaign, which I did in Greyhawk, which is, that is great. But you're right, Ed. Campaign settings, I'd love to see them all. Dark Sun and Dragonlance 2 and all of them. So, maybe if there's enough demand for it, maybe it'll happen.
They're uploading all the old books on the DM's Guild.
Yep. So
you can actually buy the Living Greyhawk Gazetteer for the first time in a decade.
This is on. Wait a minute. Wait a minute.
If you go to DM's Guild,
This
they
is
will
on-
sell you the
this is on
PDF.
DM. This is on there now.
Yeah, $13.
Okay,
PDF.
that's good. Because the original glossography is not anymore. They took it off. So, yeah, which stinks. Yep.
The what? They took the what off?
They took the original glossography off. It's not on there anymore. So I only have one reprint of it down here to give away. You know, the original 1980 folio glossography is no longer on there. And it comes and goes. So
because they do have the old
Yep.
the old box set, the 1E box set.
yes, they have that, but they don't have the original glossography. So
Yeah.
I know it's crazy. So Ed, the Beast Tamers, wow. Where was the inspiration for that? Is it just like, wow, like the Monster Hunter, or it's like, man, this needs to happen, because I love it.
Yeah, I've always liked quote monsters, unquote, as in critters that can't walk down the street in your typical large city in the realms without people reacting with violence or fear, as in something with tentacles. I mean, in Siri, a drow could put on a hat, put on a mask or cosmetics, put on a ankle-length cloak, and walk with others and not be attacked in the street. But if you're talking something that looks like a mind flayer or a beholder, they can't do that. There's going to be a reaction. So if those beings want to interact with society and they don't necessarily have the power level of a dragon or shape-shifting ability or whatever, but they might see a way of working with humans, particularly humans like prospectors, explorers, peddlers, the archetypal wandering merchant with 3 pack mules roped together who goes over the mountain pass because he knows he's going to be the only guy to hit these 3 villages in the year, so he can sell them all the mirrors, combs, needles, and thread that he wants to. But he could also rub shoulders with these monsters by, a monster wants to eat me. Here it is, hovering above my campfire. And it says, look behind you. And I turn and look behind me, and there's 2 other monsters. Oh, shit. I'm toast. And then he says, but wait, I could make you all rich. And you wouldn't have to wait for the next peddler to come along. There could be steady food. And you could better yourselves. You could, what's your hobbies? What do you want to do? You would have time for that. What, you want to become the world's greatest hairdresser? I'll send people with long hair up to your cave. You could become rich and famous. People could come to study at your feet. Edible people, says the one. and a partnership is born. And you see, they are inherently more interesting. And you think, okay, how would this actually work? And you sort of think it through, and then you say, hey, here we go, new secret society, because they're not yet ready to have this come out in the open, because they'll get attacked. I don't hold with these things with tentacles. I don't want them in our kingdom, and neither does my wife. Right, dear? And then they pick up their weapons and pitchforks and come for you. So they're not ready yet. So there you go, secret society. And this sort of thing is fun. It can be small as well as large, but I'm just immediately doing something that is more than a cabal, because it isn't like 3 merchants who normally getting together in an upper room and saying, okay, is there anybody within earshot? Good, now we can talk, we can make a little deal. Yeah, because that's too small and sordid. But this is one step up, because you've got acceptable in civilized society, in quotation marks,
Right.
being on one side, and you've got monster not accepted in civilized society on the other, and they're making common cause for some secret reason.
And the Tamers don't want to have notoriety on them, because they're really not interested in the good versus evil struggle here. They're more interested in the money making aspect of it.
Yeah,
That's cool.
and the Rakshasas want troublesome monsters out of their kingdom. and the human and dwarven and elven and half elven and half orc members and halfling members and gnome members, they want to make a little money by selling to the Mad Duke up on the hill
Yeah.
3 guardian monsters. And if they sell him 3 guardian monsters that can only live in his moat because they need to have water, they don't have to worry about these guardian monsters coming in under their door at 2 a.m. because the Mad Duke suddenly decided to get mad at them. They know that unless the Mad Duke is hiring gangs of guys to extend his moat downhill into the town, those monsters aren't coming anywhere near them, so they can safely sell them to him. And they also know now that the Mad Duke has monsters in the moat. So if you have a real disagreement with somebody in town who's bullying you, you just say, we have to talk to the Duke about this. And you walk up the hill with the guy to the moat, and then you push him in. And then you go back to town and say, yeah, he was talking with me earlier, but I don't know where he went.
This reminds me a little of extent, Ed, of a small adventuring group in the original Free City Grok box set that did something similar, but on a very vile term, and that was they were called the Shapeshifters. Except what they did was they took people, and I don't know if it would work actually. They turned them, they used polymorph, and then they sold their parts for components, spell components, and alchemy potions and stuff. And they're right in the Free City Grok box set. Yeah, so
They're crazy.
Yeah, they're a little. but this group is more behind the scenes and realizes they don't want to draw the attention. The Shapeshifters drew a lot of bad negative attention. This group doesn't want to draw that, which is really why I think it's a great idea. So
we're just honest business.
Yeah, exactly.
Trying to make a way in the world.
And most people don't know that the Rakshasa because you know they're almost impossible to detect what they actually are, and that's why I love them so much. So yeah, what do you think, Anna?
Well, I think it's really cool, and monsters that are becomes part of the economy. I have in my current campaign, and now this is just spoilers, so my players don't listen, and if they're viewing this, and it's actually one of the dragons have recruited some helpers to actually go out and find dragon hunters, so it can lead them so that they become food, so to speak, and steal their treasure and stuff. So that's part of so one of the rulers have organized a scheme to go out and try and hunt down the dragon, and it's actually the dragon who organized the scheme to get food and get treasure and stuff. So the adventurers don't come stumbling in unannounced, and so the dragon knows where they're coming at and stuff like that, and who's coming and so on and so forth. So yeah, so he's kind of giving some kickbacks to some people to keep him with steady, good food, yummy food that is well equipped, so with treasure and stuff.
And look at this. We're already an hour and 40 minutes into this lovely discussion. Isn't it like boom, just like that? I knew that this is going to be quick, because it's so intriguing. So, Eric, what do you got another organization you had in Geoff you want to discuss?
Oh, you hit my 3.
Oh, you did? Okay.
My country was only so big.
All right.
If you want to, I can go further afield and start talking about the Heralds of Keyland.
Yeah, let's do that. That's good.
Which was where I had one of my main characters I played through the Living Greyhawk campaign became one of the High Heralds of Keyland. And that was a well-known society, but it has that hidden in plain sight aspect to it. That they are supposed to be the heralds and keeping decorum, keeping everybody in touch with each other. But when you control the lines of communication between nobles, you have power. And they're the ones that are constantly trying to keep the kingdom from unraveling at the seams. They're the ones that are keeping making sure the court of the land goes off. They're the ones bringing all the nobles together, delaying messages, speeding other messages up, shading things certain ways to encourage the kingdom to continue to thrive and prosper. And so that was one of her big shticks as well. They were just, in theory, messengers. It was all hidden in plain sight. And Well, although this is only a secret society, one of the dreams I wanted to have was to start a postal system in Keyland that would be run by the Heralds. And I don't know if the symbol of in Germany, the symbol of the post office there is a horn.
Yep.
Oh, okay.
So because whenever the
many
messenger
European
would
countries.
come in,
Yep. Same
blow
thing
the
in
horns.
Sweden, and many European countries have a horn as a round thing that is, and it's the same in many European countries.
It's
a
the horny
great
guy who brings
idea.
you the mail.
yeah, it's like mail's here,
Yeah.
and everyone's excited because they don't have the internet or
Yeah. Tooting the
cable
horn.
news or anything like this. This is how you find out about the world. And that was one of the neat things I really liked about that movie, The Last Postman. In a lot of ways, keeping people in communication builds societies.
Are you talking about the Kevin Costner movie, The Postman?
Yes,
I mean,
I am.
it's so bad it's good.
The theory of it, the nugget of the story is really compelling to me.
Yes, Elvis. This is Elvis, Utah, right? And they go up the steps. I mean, it's bad, but it's funny. And they all sit there watching. They're watching Sound of Music. I'm sorry, I'm getting off on a tangent. We had a bad 80s.
Tangent.
Yeah, we had. I actually did a Gabbin on 80s and 90s D&D movies. So we'll do anything on this show for entertainment purposes. But so the Keyland is so rich in lore and just and that's one of the reasons why I love the Sheldamar Valley so much. I love the Kingdom of Keyland. It's just because it's old. It's very old. It's had its expansion era, and it's got a lot of really cool, intriguing things. And Greyhawk Reborn still plays there, right? And Gary wrote some great stuff for Keyland, and it's really a great. I'm sorry, it's too early.
And you can layer things onto it so easily.
Yeah,
because it's been there so long. Whether it be the court of the land, you have the nobles, then you have all their surrounding provinces that are kind of float in and out of orbit around the kingdom. Some of them wanting to be completely independent. Some of them are willing to go along if it's to their benefit, which is where we put Jeff.
Yeah, just so cool, so cool.
So bad D&D movies, Home Alone. Well, it's 2 hours of booby traps.
Yep.
Oh my gosh!
I tried to watch The Black Cauldron the other day.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh!
Oh, ow!
The animation is really good, but I
And-
really love the Chronicles of Prydain, and
Yes.
that did a
Yes.
hatchet job on it.
Yes.
Oh, that's so funny. So we came up with on the show on the Gabbin. It was either the worst of the worst two. It was either Highlander 2: The Quickening, or She. They were the two that we were fighting about, which was the worst one in that era, and everyone went with Highlander 2. Yeah, it's just so yeah. But
How could you possibly mention She in the same breath?
you got it. It's like what? So yeah.
If you could port it in, the black hole would fit into Keyland somehow.
Really?
Oh yeah.
Careful, Eric. Careful.
I think it
Yes.
could work.
Yes,
It
please.
has that.
I don't want a 30-day ban.
There was this expedition was sent out somewhere, and they got co-opted by someone who wanted to do it their own thing. You'd have to take out the black holes part. You just put in a Sul Imperium something or other that they're studying.
I would also plump for Darkstar.
Oh, look, Darkstar is one of the best
Yeah,
old
exactly.
cult classic sci-fi
Yeah.
movies of all time, Ed. I mean, that movie's fantastic.
I have put in Undermountain the crew member chasing the beach ball alien around with the
Which
broom.
they never say how they got it on the ship.
Yeah.
And then they deflate it right at the end by accident. Yeah. Oh
Yeah,
my
they
god, that
deflate
movie's
it.
hysterical. Oh my
Oh,
god.
I didn't bring up Krull, by the way, because that's actually a good movie. I liked Krull.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of good ones. There's a lot of great movies.
Oh yeah.
There are,
From what? Yeah.
I was just keeping it around. Just like, I don't watch any of these.
The Sword and the Sorcerer.
Yes. Oh my gosh.
Was the Krull the first time I can remember seeing Liam Neeson?
No, Excalibur.
Oh no.
Excalibur.
Yeah, Excalibur. He's one of the knights.
Yeah,
He
he's
is one of the
Gawain.
knights?
He's Sir Gawain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Glenn's usually my favorite knight.
Yeah, he's not. He's king and queen is innocent. He's fighting. Yeah.
Yeah.
I need to go back to rewatch Excalibur
Beastmaster's
now.
awesome.
Oh yes, you just have to look down that table.
We went off on a
Oh, yeah.
tangent tonight. This is so great. Oh my gosh. So, Gary Hoolian brought up the Dark Watch, and is that the Knights of the Watch's under organization? I don't know much about it. Sorry, Gary. The Dark
Watch.
Thank you.
Down in the
Genie.
Dreadwood, if I remember correctly. That was a Keyland thing.
Right. Okay. All right.
If I remember, JR was always about the Dark Watch, or is that the Dread Watch?
Yes. Yeah. You gotta know. That's why we have guests on here because those are Dreadwalkers, separate group. Gary says. I think the Dark Watch was the under organization for the Knights of the Watch. Am I wrong there, Gary? Just let me know. You're probably going to slap me down.
Yeah,
there.
they were there.
Well, everyone know Gary Hoolian is the Gary Hoolian Pluffett Smedger who wrote this book with Eric Mona. Right. There we go. Gary Hoolian right there in chat. Eric Mona, Sean Reynolds, and Fred Wining wrote this book. This great book here. So, just note that that's it. So, 2 giveaways tonight, everyone. Just remember that. Please sign up. Thank you all for the wonderful support. And without all of you, we never got here. We would never get to this point where we've made on Thursday night made the partner. And thank you. One other thing is that once again, Ed's Fate of the Norns. Please, if you want something really cool, it's coming. It's in Kickstarter, and Balfour will link that as well.
Viking Rule Dublin. Only our fantasy version of it. And the Vikings really did conquer Dublin, or what became Dublin. In fact, they founded what became Dublin because it was a nice place to put their longships and not have the Liffey take them away tidally.
I'm looking forward to checking it out. Absolutely. There's a link. Thank you, Balfriend. Yeah, Gary says Dark Watch is the secret evil and magic fighting faction behind the Knights of the Watch. That's what I thought. Gary, I just don't have enough detail on them because once again, it's out of my wheelhouse. Anna, anything that you know on them? I know.
I have a tiny little bit of a secret little project with Gary Hoolian about this.
Oh.
Yeah, but it doesn't. It's the heraldry. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So it's too secret to talk about.
Yeah.
All be murdered in our
I haven't signed an official NDA, but we can spill a little bit of the beans that we are kind of working on that.
So Ed, Anna is coming up with realistic looking heraldry, and you may have seen that in my shield. My Order of Ulick shield is up scrolling through, and Anna's got some really unbelievable stuff. I mean, it looks real.
No, this is good heraldry, because the problem with heraldry today is it has the real world heraldry. It has gone on for so long and become so intricate and complex that the battlefield purpose of recognizing a shield so you don't kill the wrong guy is increasingly farther away from. And although I love the real world heraldry, and I subscribe to the College of Arms newsletter just so I can find out that the latest fat merchant from somewhere across the world has purchased a grant of arms, and it's even more ridiculous than the last one, but still fits within the rules. Although that's fun and all that, it is really nice to see real usable heraldry.
Yeah, I think
thank you, Anna.
Oh my gosh!
I totally agree, because I think that the fantasy heraldry should follow rules and traditions from that world, so to speak.
Yes.
Not necessarily the ones from Europe or from our real world, so to speak. So, and you can often have competing ones. I can see in Greyhawk, you can have like a Grey Kingdom Airdie tradition of heraldry, and then you can have a Kiowish tradition that overlaps to some degree, because they probably look at each other and kind of adjust over time, because the enemy needs to understand it as well as your own side, so to speak. Because you want to send messages of strength and fear and intimidation and adornment or whatever you want, so to speak. So
and I had to explain Realms heraldry over and over and over to the staff designers at TSR in the old days, because they'd say, "Oh, you've got your heraldry wrong. There's metal on metal." And I said, "Yeah, in Waterdeep they allow that." And they'd sort of stare at me and go, "Huh?" And I said, okay, just like you Americans break all the rules of the College of Arms in England, because you're doing your own thing,
Yep.
Guess what? You know,
Yeah, exactly. And
Yes.
some of them probably do it on purpose just to stand out and be
yeah,
different.
to be different. Yeah.
Look at the shirt Anna has on. She's got my, got my heraldry symbol on the shirt
Yeah.
here. So yeah, we're
Yeah.
cheating, and cheating is fine for me. It's a fantasy game, and I love heraldry, and that was what drew me
Yeah.
into the.
Oh
the,
yeah, I love
the
heraldry.
folio.
too.
There's a
It's-
folio. It was all that wonderful
yeah,
heraldry
and
on it.
it's,
So
Yeah.
and
And
so-
that was my chief frustration with Greyhawk in the early days,
Mhm.
was that TSR wanted to make all of their worlds distinctive from each other. And because Gary had heraldry all over the cover of Greyhawk, I wasn't allowed to publish the heraldry of the realm.
oh, that's ridiculous.
because
that's-
the worlds had to be different.
Oh,
and it was like,
I did not know that.
yeah, oh
that
yeah,
is terrible.
yeah. And so my original turnovers for the black and white, of course, which meant I drew the heraldic blazons quite large, so I could say silver, blue, green, and I would have them all, and they just wouldn't use them because, oh no, that heraldry is Greyhawk.
So I just got an idea, Anna.
Yeah.
Work with Ed in progress for
I was
2022.
going to say I got that idea too. But
Yeah, do a bunch of the FR
In my spare time,
after the
Yes,
Greyhawk
exactly.
heraldry's
In our
all
spare
done.
time,
Of course.
we could do lots of stuff. So, yep. Mhm.
Yeah, great one.
Mhm.
So I should have brought up Midnight Darkness. This is a group that's Great Kingdom based, and very nasty. Another one, and I know we have a lot of. It's from Mivity and Dying, which is a fantastic publication that never made it. That's out there in the ether. And they're all cult undermining good in the old Great Kingdom, and that's this one here. Another nice secret society that I wanted to share with you all. But now let's get to, what do you think, Eric? Let's get to the third Ed group.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Let's do it. Here we
Okay.
go.
All right, here we go. And I've been sending all these to you in Discord.
Yes, I got them. Thank you.
Jay.
I'll convert them
Yeah.
over to PDF for everyone. Absolutely.
Because I always forget. I can't just attach.
No, it's perfect. And
docs.
I can chop it, boom, and
Good.
convert it to PDF. Thank you.
Okay, so this last one has tentacles into Greyhawk.
Yes.
Okay, so this one is Moror's Mirror, and MOROR''S, Moror's Mirror,
Okay.
named for a magical gate or portal, if you prefer. The now dead founder of the group, Archel Moror, fat merchant and wizard of Tashluta, who perished in the 1370s DR, had behind a curtain along a back wall of his palatial bedchamber that looked like a floor-to-ceiling mirror. This group is dedicated to controlling gates/portals between the worlds. Its members can be found in Oith, Kryn, Toril, Abir, and even Athos. They want to be the sole folk who know how to open, close, entrap, or destroy gates/portals, so they alone can control trade and migration
Wow.
of desperate, high-paying fugitives and refugees, or of armies through them, and profit from these flows. This is often as simple and coin-grubbing as rushing plentiful grain to drought-stricken places where it can be sold for high prices, or charging someone on the run a stiff fee to step through your gate. Do either of these often, for years on end, and you'll be much, much richer than anyone else. Members of the Mirror can be found literally anywhere, and so can the hidden gates they always watch and usually guard. So where you find a Mirror member, a gate is never far away.
Nice.
Knowledge of the precise locations of gates, how to operate them, and how to deal with any traps upon them are the closely guarded secrets of the Mirror, whose members all use aliases, often maintaining several guises in life, and watchwords, in quotation marks, passphrases, so that they need not know each other at all closely. Among the current leaders of the Mirror, who do know the entire network of membership and where the gates the Mirror controls are located, as well as where the society is currently searching for more, adventurers who are hired to aid in those researches, for example, looting old libraries, are often eliminated by the Mirror after their tasks are done to guard secrecy about the group.
Oh.
Are the fat, Saturnin, ruthless cleric of Talos, Emmer Ontrar, the handsome, aging, but still dashing adventurer Marandrar Amtanthar, and the longtime caravan merchant, marble and metals trader, and rogue, Scallows or Bootlin. There you go. Details are on your way. Wahaha.
Talos is the Storm
Awesome.
Lord in Greyhawk, by the way. I've converted Talos over because why not?
Why
You
not?
need a chaotic neutral with a little evil twinge god of just bad weather and bad storms and bad, trouble. It's perfect. I'll never forget going into Baldur's Gate 2. Okay, this is a flashback. And going into that Church of Talos, and it's just so loud in there, right? They play that loud. It's like what's a constant thundering is in the churches, Ed, of Talos.
Yeah.
Wow, and it was just they did it so well in that game. That game was in the '90s, and it was just like really, really cool. So it always stuck with me, and yeah. So I even have a
Nice.
specialty priest of Talos and of the Stormlord in my campaign. Yep, definitely. That's awesome. That is an awesome one. Thoughts, Eric, Anna, as we're
Yeah, I think it's a great business idea to do something like that. It's probably hard to maintain a monopoly or near monopoly, but it's kind of interesting. It's a good source for profit, but it also something to gain real enemies, so to speak, because if you start doing it, you probably touch with some of you don't rub shoulders, but you're going to intrude on a lot of others powerful ones who want to do it, so to speak. So, but maybe then you can be a sort of a consultant on planner travel and stuff. So you can let's say that others can have it, but we make sure that no one that shouldn't go through can use your whatever and stuff like that. So you can sell knowledge. So I can see them having to kind of tweak and squirm their way into and out of various interesting situations and stuff. Well, they might need adventures and stuff.
And this is by no means a new idea in fantasy. Roger Zelazny's Amber series was based on his love of Philip Jose Farmer's World of Tears series, or Kikaha the Trickster stories, if you prefer. And that was based around the fact that Kikaha finds himself going through all these gates to all these vest pocket universes and finds himself being attacked by the Bellers. And the Bellers, whose name comes from these bells that he hears, control all the gates, and they don't want anybody else using them. And that it wasn't even new with Philip Jose Farmer, but I wanted to find some way of shoehorning that not just into the realms, but into all the TSR worlds. I'm old school here, so I'm saying TSR worlds because that's how we collectively called them originally, particularly after the new way of making new kick-ass TSR worlds was to make a new world that had no connections with the others. And then around and telling Ed, hey, would you do these Dragon articles, the Wizards 3, where they all have connections? We need to cross-pollinate. And so I would say, okay, so let's just quietly link them all together. So you can come up with your anti-realms, the desert world Athos that has no connections, and you can say Kryn has no connections. Guess what? They do. See, I just created the connection.
And what's great, this will satiate Planescape and Spelljammer people too.
I was going to say, Planescape confirmed.
Yeah. And by the way, for high level campaigns, what became the epic level handbook, and the TSR didn't publish this, but in the original Realms turnovers, it was all about, this is what you do with a high level campaign. You get caught up in this fight for control of access to all the alternative prime material planes, the whole multiverse, with the other people who control gates. And of course, instead they said, why don't we do Planescape as a separate line? And so you twist it and you turn it sideways. And at the same time, you were taking demons and devils out of the game, and you want to distract people from the planes, so you gave them Spelljammer, where we travel through the crystal spheres. And then when we bring back the books, it's Ba, Tazu, and Tanaree, not demons and devils. And you've sort of said, look at my left hand. My left hand is playing this cool trick. Well, my right hand is doing this.
Yes.
Yeah. But because of those two things, we didn't get this, okay, here's your high level campaign where you fight to control the gates, and here's where all the gates are in the realms, and here's what the gates they link to in Earth, and here's the gates they link to in Kryn, which was the product I had planned. And I remember talking to Jim Ward about it, and I remember Jim Ward saying, I think we have to go and have a drink about this.
This is
And
going to require a lot of booze.
Yeah, and no, I think that was his way of saying, let's take it outside the building to somewhere private, and then if it flies, it can be great, and then if I have to deep six it, nobody ever heard it.
Yeah.
Right.
Deniability.
Yeah.
You've been in touch with Jim, Ed?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Not as much as we used to. It's mainly by social media now. Because
Right.
I because of COVID and so on, I'm no longer hopping merrily on planes and going across borders. And the last time I saw Jim in the flesh, so to speak, folks, it's a family show, was at Gamehole Con.
Okay, that wasn't that
Yeah,
long ago. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I apologize. Someone mentioned that there was a Canadian con and that they signed some things for them back 3 or 4 years ago. Is it Snow Con? I'm sorry, I forget. It's so far back in the
Phantasm?
in
or-
Ottawa. Is it in Ottawa?
Oh, in Ottawa. Yeah. Okay. In
Yeah.
Ottawa,
Just
I
wanted
would,
to relate that. I
I
apologize
would
for
probably
right
be attending. Yeah, in Ottawa, I would probably be attending one of the science fiction conventions that they hold. there
SkyCon.
regularly.
SkyCon.
Oh, SkyCon. Okay,
SkyCon.
which is-
Thank you, Troy. I
Okay.
didn't write it down in my notes. I apologize. Yeah.
okay.
So
Yeah, SkyCon is more Kitchener and Guelph area.
Kitchener.
Yeah,
That's it. It was in Kitchener.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
yeah.
Man, I was way off on my memory on that one. So thank you, Troy, for bringing that up there. But someone had mentioned that you were kind enough to sign some stuff for him there. So it's just
Yeah, and
really
by
cool.
the way, gamers, if you're ever in that
Hey,
area,
Deegan.
there is a game-themed restaurant. It used to be called the Watchtower. I can't remember what it's called now, but it is all for gamers, and you can order your burger. It's burgers and shots type restaurant, and it's just in
Nice.
Nowheresville, suburbia, and doesn't look like anything until you get there, and then you step into the door and it's gamers heaven. So if you're ever in that area and you're a famished gamer, drop by. And by the way, this isn't my restaurant. I have no connection to it. I just loved it.
Awesome. That is super cool. Moror's Mirror, and so that gives us 3 that Ed has brought to us: the Chalice, the Tamers, and Moror's Mirror. So and I will have them in PDFs. Give me tonight, and we get them out somewhere for you all who wants them for use. Which is always a wonderful thing. I know I don't want to keep you all too late tonight as we are running over time here, but let's do a synopsis of the discussion tonight and what you think we're going to get out of this. Who wants to start that? Eric, you want to go first on this one? Like, because
we heard Planescape confirmed.
Yeah.
I do like the idea of the gates. The synopsis is there are 2 different. I would say that keep in mind that there are truly secret societies, and then there's also secretive societies that are notorious, like the Harpers, the Scarlet Brotherhood, and kind of keep those separated. At the same time, it doesn't mean that everyone knows of the Scarlet Brotherhood, but they might not know who exactly is in the Scarlet Brotherhood, or even what their objectives are in a particular place. And you can apply that to all sorts of secretive organizations as opposed to truly secret ones. Earlier, I kind of like the dichotomy of that the secret organizations of the realms are dedicated to realm control, while in the Oerth, they seem to be more situated towards realm preservation, which is kind of an interesting way that those have developed.
Awesome.
Across it. And although that might just be my own bias because I was responsible for one particular country living Greyhawk. So I'll freely admit that would be a bias. Those are some of my takeaways.
And that country was Frank. Oh, no, sorry, Jeff.
Frank.
So note that Eric has been kind enough to come on 2 shows this week, and I really appreciate it. They've both been fantastic. And like I said, you were on the last show ever that I was an affiliate with, and that's, hey, it could have been the Fae. The Fae discussion could have been the difference. Who knows?
Yeah.
So, but that was you and Jose were fantastic.
He's a tricksy like that.
Yes.
Yeah.
What a wonderful discussion on the Fae. Just noting that the Fae, the Fae's real big now in D&D 5e, but 20 some years ago is living Greyhawk Jeff was hardcore for it. So
It was a lot of fun.
yeah, definitely. So thank you for that synopsis. We'll do some shout outs for you in a second here, Eric. So Anna, what's your final thoughts on our
I just
discussion
want to say
tonight?
that this is something that every DM I think should embrace, the idea of organizations and make them secret in part or fully or twist them, so to speak. So don't let them be upfront what they really are. So this is something to play with, so to speak, and also think of how they fit in the web of power, so to speak, and realize that how power actually works, not how it works formally, but how it works really. And then see, just like Ed did with the portals and stuff, see where there is a business idea, either to earn money or to do favors or earn power, so to speak, because not everyone is motivated by money. Some of them are motivated to pursue their own interest no matter what, and they use money rather than earn money, so to speak, and some motivate different, a plethora of motivations and methods and stuff like that, and hidden, open, and kind of mix and match. I think it's really cool, so to speak, because we all want the adventure players to be befuddled by interesting factions that do weird stuff and evil stuff and good stuff, and always make sure that their organization stuff that helps the players too and the characters too. So not always antagonistic organization. The good guys have organizations too.
True. Very, very true. And great points, Anna. And and thank you once again for being the partner in crime here, as we have some. And we see what we got coming up next week. Well, I don't even know, but we got some good discussions coming up. No, I'm just kidding. Ed, your final thoughts on this? And my gosh, every time you come with some new lore for everyone, which is so kind of you.
If you're going to be nice enough to invite me, I got to bring something to the feast. It's like all those little old church ladies with their bowl of tomato aspic or Waldorf salad who turn up on your doorstep and you go, ugh. I mean, I would never have made this myself, but I'll try it because somebody else made it. So that's me. I bring my Waldorf salad. So here's my sum up for the cool idea. If you're a dungeon master of a long running role-playing campaign that has a detailed setting, no matter what it is, if things are getting a bit boring or if the player characters can't think of things to do, have someone of your non-player characters that you've built up as fixtures in the setting, some of whom the player characters might even trust. And if you don't have any of those, what have you been doing, Dungeon Masters? Anyway, so assuming there's such an NPC, have them sidle up to the PCs and try and form a secret society using the PCs. A new direction and thing for the campaign, because suddenly they have to start deceiving all their friends, neighbors, and relations about what they're up to. And then, and only then, you as Dungeon Master, after 2 or 3 years of this fun, can reveal that they've been set up as dupes and as a front for another secret. and you see, this is why people are scared when they sit down at my gaming table.
Players hate being called dupes, which is really the fun part. Yes.
Yeah. So just call them voters or citizens. That's so much nicer.
That is awesome. So XL has a question, and this is an Ed. This question is an Ed mega question that came up earlier, and I forgot to ask it. So.
Hi.
Why? And if you think you can laugh, why hasn't Drizzt and Elminster ever done an adventure together, or book?
Because the one time that a TSR vice president suggested that, Bob and I leaned forward with such glee and started spewing ideas that scared him so much.
Intimidation. I love that.
Oh yes, yes. You must respect your creatives. Equals be frightened of them.
Mhm.
So the idea was, okay, keep Bob busy writing books. We need 4 a year, and keep Ed up in Canada. We don't want them together because, and actually that's not true, because they had 2 summits, secret summits at TSR, at Wizards of the Coast, excuse me, in the
Thank you.
where we planned things like, you know, the Sundering, where we had secret summits where we got together, and then the idea was keep Bob and Ed on track, because they come into the room and they spew ideas at top speed, and we can't record them fast enough, and they go off topic, and they gallop madly off in all directions at once. Will you just keep them guys on topic?
Wow. So there was a great answer to this question. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
Wow. Wow. That would have been interesting. But I really appreciate the answer on that one. So
No problem.
here's a real specific question from Excel that he asked in a previous show, and I didn't think it was proper, but let's just ask it. What happened to King Consort Hadric Leo late in life after Zaranda Star?
After Zaranda Star ascends, yes. Okay, well, guess what? That is NDA, because
Oh, okay.
there were actually plans to write it.
Okay.
So
Oh.
a certain thing was
There you
written
go,
up,
Excel.
given to a book department, authors were attached to the project, and so therefore everything is NDA. This is not something I was going to write. I'll tell you that right now.
Okay.
We were developing, gosh, I sound like a company pod, and I've never ever been anything more than a freelancer. They were developing the Young Dragons, by which I mean Aaron Evans, Eric Scott DeBee, James P. Davis, Rosemary Jones, etc., etc. The next tier of writers to write, to come along on the wake of the poor, tired, aging bodies of Bob Salvatore, Ed Greenwood, and Elaine Cunningham. Because the thought was, you know, any one of us could get run over by a bus or have a heart attack, and then suddenly you have a gap in your line. So
Right.
it's time to bring that. Yeah. And one of the things was, okay, but because it was, quote, my character, and also Jeff Grubb's character, because he put a twist on it, and with Leo in the comics, and developed this, and then Julia Martin and Stephen Shen, because of their roles as Realms traffic cops in the various times, had gotten involved in this, that we should all have sort of input of what Leo would sound like and what he would do and what he was like as a real ruler, and da-da-da-da-da. So we all put our 2 cents worth in, and then it all got done up in a package with a bow, which means put on the mainframe in a top secret file that everybody promptly forgot. And then everything changed. It got bought by Wizards, and the novel line is in a different direction, and things get shelved, and then the novel line goes away. But that still means that it's NDA, because it was consultancy, it was paid for, it was written up. So other than to tell you, to confirm, because the word of this has already gotten out, so I'm not spilling any beans, all I can do is say, okay, this is the limit of what I can tell you about the project, which may happen, probably won't ever happen, but might happen. And I don't want to be the guy who screws it up, because 20 years, remember what that story I told you about, the boot shine girl?
Yeah.
I don't want to be the guy who screws up that story when somebody at Wizards of the Coast says, so we have a new book line, middle grade, or for young kids, or whatever, and guess what?
Well, there you go, Excel, and it's a legitimate answer from Ed, and thank you for that question. Really appreciate it. So one more question, Ed, from a very lovely lady, Tea Time with Taryn, who's Canadian. She just wanted to know roughly where in Canada you reside, if you may.
Roughly where in Canada? Sure. I am in, okay, I was born in what is now a suburb of Toronto.
Okay.
In Ontario, the capital of Ontario. I moved some 40 years ago to the country, where I could have 4.5 acres of bucolic wilderness. I still live in 4.5 acres of bucolic wilderness, called a century farmhouse. And if you went to Rochester, New York, and let's say for the purposes of this argument, meaning no religious disrespect to anybody, suppose for the purposes of this argument, you were Jesus and could walk on water. And you walk due north, straight across Lake Ontario. You would hit the largest quarry in North America, right on the edge, gravel quarry, right on the edge of on north shore of Lake Ontario, which is between the little village I live in and the lake, which is why we can't have nice things. Because and I live in this tiny village. And that's where I am, halfway between Toronto and Kingston on the north shore of Lake Ontario in the middle of Nowheresville. And when I moved out here, people could find me by stopping their car, rolling down the window and saying to anybody, "Hey, I'm looking for the crazy writer." "Oh, he lives, Now other writers have moved in and there's competition.
So Taryn said you sounded like you were from Toronto.
Yes, I am from Toronto.
Yes, that's just very cool.
I'm actually from Don Mills in North York.
Okay. So there you go, Taryn. Thank you for that. So hopefully, we got over 150 people on tonight. Thank you. I just want to say that the community is really it's growing, and there's room for all the game settings in these discussions, and that's where I think having Eric, Eric does Moonshay's work now, but he came up living Greyhawk, and it's a great
I'll be
mix.
back. Don't worry. I'm going to find one of those portals and pay the fee to those mirror folks.
Yeah.
And I'm going through.
Yeah, it's so much fun to share these ideas, and we want to keep these running every couple months. And hopefully, you all want to come back again, and after the holidays.
I want to come back. Yeah.
All right. Yes, absolutely.
I need an excuse to write more lore in the time I don't have.
That is, yes, it is so wonderful. So let's do some shout outs here. I promise I will keep it very short, and Anna and I will keep it short so we hear from our guests, because we can
keep it short. That's impossible.
Go ahead, Anna. You want to start off?
Okay, I can say first I have to apologize so much for my latest map live stream. My internet, I kind of failed my internet saving throw or something, so I kind of screwed it up. So I need to look it over. And there is also, since Jay made partner, there is another big reason for me to switch over to Twitch. So we're going to see if I can make that happen, so to speak. So and we'll see about the ambitions, because a lot of people are nagging me to stream more of city map making and stuff. I thought it was to be the most boring thing ever, but some people want to know the tricks and stuff like that. So it's coming. So there will be a switch to Twitch. So I'll keep you posted, and I'll start doing some test things and stuff like that to see if it's what works or not. So I'm sorry about the kind of the malfunctioning stream, so to speak, but I'm going to come back and make it better. So that's coming, and there is more heraldry coming, and that's the cool thing is Gary Julian and me have conspired to do a bunch of develop a bunch of shields and stuff, and also to correct a few ones that were not that good or could be better, so to speak. So that is coming, and yeah, I'm not going to spill the detailed beans yet, but it's probably half a dozen of shields and maybe a few more of cool stuff that Gary have designed and organizations and stuff for, and so we want to upgrade, adjust, and add to and add some more heraldry. So that is coming, and there's also another batch of these real new kind of looking heraldry coming too. So that the first batch will be public in a day or two. Will go public, all of them. So the first batch of like 20 or so, and people who looked at that post thing that
I'm linking it that you can download. So here, I'll link it again. You can just go in and grab it.
Yeah.
The
yeah,
postcards.
And there are some of the new cool heraldry is in that one too. So more is coming. So some more is coming. Yep. And also I put together the first full version and export checked and import checked the full version of the new Flannies 2022, but including Hypnoland. And there is a lot of pixels, meaning it's 50% bigger than it used to be. So I just wanted to see if my computer and Illustrator and Photoshop and stuff could actually handle that much stuff, so to speak, in one go. And yes, it can. So now I have Hypnoland and the whole of the Flannies and then some in one file that I can work on. So now we know that it's coming, and I'm also going to start setting up the work on the Atlas with Dwayne Costa, and we're also going to see if we can recruit a couple of people to help us so we can get it done a bit faster and stuff. So there will be posts about that. So if you're interested, keep a lookout on my Facebook group and stuff like that to see if you're interested in helping out with organizing the Atlas, because there's a lot of names and stuff, and there's even more names now. So there's thousands and thousands of names that needs to be verified where they are, and we need to put the final layout, because now we have a lot more ground to cover, so to speak, when it comes to that. And there was also another cool little pet project that came about, and I just need to look at Facebook so I get the names right here. So hang on a second here. That was in Flannies Geographical Society and several others. That there was Zach Henderson. He started a dehexification of the Darlene map. So he actually sat in Photoshop and took away all the hexes. And I thought, yeah, because I always wanted a version of the Darlene map without hexes, and he posted simply the white image with all the black without the hexes, all the names and all the labels and all that, and then he said, well, I'm going to start coloring it, but it will take a while and so on, because I don't know that much about Photoshop. And I was like, okay, maybe I could just lend a hand. So I just took it in and made a first color version of it. Now Zach is making a version that is way more detailed and have the colors are even more perfect than mine, so to speak. But I think it's a cool project. And if you go to Facebook in Flannies Geographical Society, I think he posted it on some other places too, there are links to where you can download that one. You can download my version. I put it there too. And I can probably, hang on a second here, I can put the Dropbox links just in chat as we speak.
Don't crash anything, Anna.
No, I'm just gonna.
Oh, in Twitch chat. Oh, I thought you meant Zoom chat. Like,
exactly. No, not in Zoom chat. So
don't share the Zoom screen.
Yeah, so I'm just gonna take the Dropbox link here and put it in, and it's a little bit parchment version of the Darlene map without hexes. So that, I think that was a cool project, so to speak. So
it looks like Katana's done some enhancements to it as well, according in the chat
there's
here.
plenty now. There's like a whole little team that people are grabbing onto it and they're making updates and stuff. So I think it looks Darlene map. I always wanted it. I thought that hexes. I like hexes, but not on every type of map, and especially on old style fantasy artistic maps.
Wait till she sees it, because she had to manually lay them all on top of each other.
Exactly. I'm not sure if Darlene will actually like it that we remove one of the features on her map, or she might like it. I'm not sure, but a lot of people actually like the map without the hexes, and I do, because now the art stands out more than it did before. So it was kind of cool to spend a couple hours with the Darlene map again. So thank you, Zach, and everybody who kind of jumped on the bandwagon to make this happen. So it's kind of cool. So yeah, and then there, so that is, there's a bunch of more. I'm also going to hope soon maybe look for another player for my campaign. So because I have one that unfortunately had to leave the campaign.
Oh, sorry to hear that.
So yeah, so we it was simply doing a lot of other cooler stuff. So I'm going to see if I can recruit some player to my campaign that doesn't offer treasure, XP, or nothing, and it's too much maps, and it's boring. Yeah,
Sorry to hear that. But another great thing, Anna, myself, and Alyssa Faden, our once a month fantasy mapping show, Friday, December 17th. Publisher's Perspective. So we got Zach from Frog God and Steven Chenault from Troller Games both participating in this. And it's going to be Yuletide cheer as far as giveaways go. So it may be a record. We're going to try and, because we're letting the sponsors beat each other up here, Give me more. Give me more. Come on, Ed. I'm playing them off it. So we'll see how many. I'd love to get like 15, 20. We'll see. We'll see what happens that night. But that's going to be a fun show. Talking about how the publishers, what they want in maps, and what they're looking for, the process. So it'll be a really cool show on the 17th. We're going to have a fantasy mapping show at GaryCon.
Mm-hmm.
We're gonna have one. I'm working on trying to get that on the main channel right now, by the way. So please note that's a little tidbit that I'm just throwing out there that I've been working on behind the scenes. Yes, I'm trying, Ed. So yes. So Anna, thanks a lot.
Thank you.
And I'll talk about what other fun stuff we got coming up this week. Eric, what's going on, man?
Oh, we got several interesting irons in the fire. First one is Moonshays. I am wrapping up the last of the Rising Shadows storyline that we did for the Adventurers League. 3 years of adventures, 20 trilogies, 60 adventures, all set in the storied Moonshay Isles of the Forgotten Realms, where we get to explore all sorts of fun lore. We're wrapped it up at Gen Con. That was a couple of months back, so now it's editing, polishing, and getting up on the guild. And you can just, if you go that, and if you go onto the DM's Guild, you can just do a type for Moonshays, and our stuff will start to come up. I also have a website put together by Savannah, and it's mythmakers.com/Moonshays. I can do a link to that one real quick as soon as I grab it.
Please do.
Except now it's not coming up. Oh, well, I'll get to it.
Of course, Lee.
I'll do it afterwards when Ed is talking about his stuff.
Yes. All right. Awesome.
The other one is I've been asked to do a storyline for RPG Travel, which is aligned with or in partnership with Gen Con. They're doing a trip to Ireland in the early May, where we will be visiting all sorts of historic sites, seeing such things as the Book of Kells, the Harp of Bran-Boru. And they've asked me to put together an adventure that we will play as we go to tour the Irish countryside. And they said, make it very fey. And I went, I can do that.
That is awesome.
That's at rpgtravel.com. And the last iron in the fire is I'm helping out with Rick Lescoflair's new Kickstarter that is almost... It is funded. It's got how many days? 3 days left to go, called Expedition from the Mysterious Peaks, which is going to be adventure set.
Me too!
That's fantastic. So that one looks like it's funded. It's going to happen. And
nice.
It's using the Esper Genesis rules. And I am hoping to do a mashup of the old Blackmoor adventures with Mage of the Valley, with the Shadow Elves from the known world of D&D. I want to see if I can weave all those together. It's going to be exciting. And let me toss that link in as well.
Please do.
At this point, I will start handing the baton over to Ed.
Uh-oh. Well, okay. I am a Luddite, and I can't even see the chats that all you guys are.
I know. I got someone putting your Norns in every
Cool.
15 minutes.
Good. So yeah, all I do is I type in Kickstarter in Google, and then I type Ultimate Viking, and then I tell it I'm not a bot, and I press and hold this thing to tell them I'm not a bot, and I think, geez, we've progressed so much technology. And then it finally shows me the Ultimate Viking thing, and I think, oh my gosh, there's only a week left, and we have to fund this sucker. So,
8 days left.
Yeah, 8 days. And I need your shekels. I need your coin of the realm. I need the money you've been saving to give to the taxman. There is no tomorrow. I need you to send it to us. No, I mean, I need you to back this Kickstarter, which isn't even my Kickstarter. It's Andrew Volkoskis' Kickstarter for Fate of the Norns. But I want it to be funded because you get 2 graphic novels, you get 3 novels by 3 different people, one of them me, and one of those novels is set almost entirely within the walls of this fantasy city, Ath Cleath. Another novel by the talented Michelle Franklin, which will make you laugh, and she is a Irish historian, and it visits Ath Cleath for a few key scenes. Now, what is Ath Cleath? A box set a Viking ruled Dublin, our fantasy version, with 96 city blocks. Every single building is detailed. There's at least one fully detailed NPC in every building. Each NPC has a dirty secret. The south end of the city, you will get in full detail, like exhaustive detail. The rest of the city, you will get about the same level as a Dorling Kindersley travel guide to a real world city like London or Paris or Rome. And we will stand behind this city and make it a lowercase, so there's no lawyers need listen to this bit, living city. it will be a city that stays alive because we will support it for decades to come with new adventures. I'm going to craft a little adventure deck. There's going to be new NPCs. We're going to keep news and rumors coming at you.
It's awesome.
Them every day for free. So this will be a living city. And by the way, if you don't like Vikings, or they're not your bag, or you don't want to play Fate of the Norns, which uses runes instead of dice, you can use it with any fantasy FRP. And eventually, I know my arm will be twisted, so that if you don't want to use Viking matronyms and patronyms because they had no surnames, folks, I will give you alternative fantasy names that you can just, swap in and out if you don't want it to be your Viking city. But this city will be fully detailed. It's not like the Free City of Greyhawk where you had all these cool things, but if you put your finger down on a random building and say, what's in this building here? You'll be lucky if it's a building that's been mapped. Now, that is a boon for some, because it means you can put your own thing into that building in your own fantasy campaign.
Yeah.
But it would be really cool if somebody had done all the hard work of detailing every building. So if you want to do something for your campaign, you can just deep six what's there and just change one building. And if they go into the building next door and put the sword to the throat of the owner and run up the stairs to the top floor and bust out the window and jump across to the roof of the building you're trying to get into, you know what's in every building. Somebody else has done the donkey work for you, so you can spend time on the adventure.
Yes.
That's what you're getting if you back this Kickstarter.
That's so awesome. So go for it, everyone. And I mean, it's such an honor, Ed, to have you and Eric here. I mean, this is
great.
I have so much fun. Especially when I say something, you say yes, correct. When Ed agrees,
yes, correct.
Exactly. It's so wonderful. Anything else going on, Ed? You got anything going on with WotC Hasbro wise? It's all NDA, I'm assuming, but
yeah. I can tell you, there's Alex Kammer has almost got our Thay book ready.
Oh, okay.
There's going to be a gorgeous book on Thay. It's going to, if you buy the print version or whatever, it is going to look as good as a Wizard's rulebook. It's going to look like the Border Kings book did.
Okay.
And I also have a Volo's guide to a city in the realms that is almost ready to go. That I'm doing another crew. Yeah.
All DMs Guild, right? All DMs Guild?
Yes,
okay.
All DMs Guild. And I know Anna will love the map of this when she sees the city map, because boy, my cohorts really went to work on the map. So there's that, and let's see what else. Most of the other stuff I can't talk about. I mean, I'm involved in Tenares. I'm involved in two other things I can't talk to you about. There's the one that Eric just mentioned. Right. And what else am I working on? Oh, I can't talk about that yet. Oh, no, I can't talk about that yet. Oh, geez, I can't talk about anything. No, I'm not working on anything at all. Nothing to see here on.
Well, we will all work on setting a date for the 2-drink minimum to come back, okay? Because I know everyone will, because all three of you are involved in that, so we want that to happen, and we'll set a date for the next one of these discussions as well.
That's great, because I don't get to drink until 2-drink minimum.
That's it.
Right.
Absolutely.
It is in the name.
Yes,
I knew it. No way around it.
I have 2-drink minimum and the Slav Squat Squad as two of my newer groups in my game. So like I said,
say that 3 times fast.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Ed, I didn't know what it was until that
even
night.
Once,
My
and
gosh.
I don't even try. Yeah.
All right, a couple shout outs here. I want to say congratulations to Casey Brown. His Bandit Kingdom summary book has surpassed 1,000 purchases. So he just wanted, I wanted to let everyone know that he
Nice.
hit a milestone on that.
Congratulations,
Just want to say
Casey. That's awesome.
congratulations to Casey, and what a fantastic book. Also, I wanted to show everyone I got the Troller Games Player's Handbook, brand new, an ode to the original Player's Handbook, and also
God,
the
that's gorgeous.
Player's Arcane.
Love
Yes. Yeah, they did
Love
a
that
wonderful, wonderful job. Troller Games, great sponsor. Also, look at this, the old orange
They
character
even
sheets.
They even have orange character sheets.
Yeah,
That
so
is wonderful.
really cool. This is from a Kickstarter. Just got this. Wonderful sponsor of this channel, Troller Games. Okay, so Wednesday night, as we kick off another week, only 3 streams again, everyone, because I got PAX Unplugged. I'm DMing Friday. I'm DMing Saturday. I have a private party Friday night at a bar in Philly. We're going to celebrate. Yeah, sorry, Anna, you're not going to be here.
Yeah, I know. I'm not coming.
We're going to celebrate my partnership and some other
Anna,
things. So,
you have to make bail.
yes,
Yes.
exactly.
Damn
Yeah, Scottish Troller Games. I mean, they may be available for order now. I'm not sure if they've gotten through the Kickstarter ones as well. So, okay. What was I saying? So Wednesday night, Greyhawk Mega Dungeons is going to be the topic. We're going to have myself, Anna, Greyhawk Mike Bridges, and we're going to have 2 special guests. We're going to have Jason Zavoda and Carlos Lysing's coming back, everyone. So Carlos will be on as well, which will be great to see Carlos. It's been a little while. So we'll have the 4 of us, and we're going to talk about. So Jason Zavoda has put Ruins of Undermount in his Greyhawk setting there, Ed. So that'll get discussed on Wednesday night's show.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll have a real cool discussion on that. That'll be Wednesday. Thursday, I continue my adventure, the Narwhal Headhunters Rangers of Arkwood. You know, this is the adventure I started last Thursday when I found out I was a partner. So we didn't get a lot done because we were all just goofing off and celebrating that night. But we'll continue this on Thursday. Miniature Building Authority's quarterly $75 gift certificate and a $25 gift certificate giveaway that night. So the biggest one I do of a quarter is $75 in one shot and a gift certificate, and that's Miniature Building Authority, my first ever sponsor that I've had back in the day, and a great small company. That is Wednesday. Thursday, prep for PAX. Friday at PAX. Saturday at PAX. So Sunday, next week's, Anna will be here. We'll see who else I can get on, but back to in-person conventions, PAX Unplugged 2021. I want to talk about the differences and what's going on and my experiences at this one. It'll be a little different. You got to show your card. You got to wear a mask. I'm interested to see. I'm going to take a lot of pictures, but that'll be it for next week's Gabbin. Unless I have a special guest or something, and we'll change it up a little bit, but that's what we'll be doing. And I think that's it. Alrighty. Oh, yes. And then the 18th, the day after the Fantasy Mapping Show, the next all-star game with a bunch of streamers, the Slav Squad, this group of ladies, and Josh Pop, Mandy, Little Bones, MJ Russell, Myriad, and Zarathon. Really cool group and a fun group, and we'll play our Saturday night special. The only one I have in December because of all the holiday stuff. Saturday the 18th. And so hopefully we can get True Drink Minimum around in January sometime. That would be really cool to get them in a game in January. So that'll be our target. So thank you all. Let's do the giveaways here. And then I'm going to raid into, I think, Tabletop Notch because I love their game. I think they're very cool. So I think we'll raid into Tabletop Notch tonight. All right, so let me get this set up. Let's do the 2 giveaways, and we'll get the raid going and get you on your way. Thank you for hanging out there. See, Eric, we're late. Even when I said 9:30, and then we went later than even that. You know, so I'm not the best at.
I was worried we'd go over 10.
No.
That's why I turned into a pumpkin.
I'm just worried about the late Ed Greenwood. You know.
Yeah, so we're waiting. So we're getting this together, and Ed goes, "I'm still alive, so I'll be there."
Yeah.
I was like, "Oh, Ed." That was yes. So the CNC Player's Handbook goes on sale, so you can get that Player's Handbook tomorrow on sale if you weren't in the Kickstarter. So there you go. All right, let me do the giveaways here. You get your choice, please, and you got to be on a claim. Closing it out. So we have Scarlet Brotherhood and a Treasures, and we have a Treasures and an Adventure Begins. We'll do those. I know a lot. The first one's probably going to want the Scarlet Brotherhood one. It's a great book. First winner is Vamp Wickman. I saw Vamp on. We'll see what he says, and let me pull out the second one real quick. The second winner is Vamp. Which one? I'm assuming you want the Scarlet Brotherhood one, correct? Scarlet Brotherhood and treasures, just let me know. Second winner, GTTRFB 1995. I don't think you've ever, have you won anything ever? That's great. GT, you good with GD? See, I'm tongue twisted myself. So I'll need your address for these two. Adventure Begins and Treasures of Greyhawk, 2 great books. Okay, great. Just whisper me your full address, name, and address. We'll get them out to you. Thanks, everyone. Once again, we have a new stream team. Here it is, Greyhawk Creatives. We're adding all the members of the community who stream, crafters, discussion shows, gamers that have Greyhawk content, putting them here. And it's not, you don't have to be a Greyhawk only streamer, but we're getting the group together. That way it's one-stop shop. One of my benefits of being a partner, I could set this up finally. So we're set up, we have that. You want to put that, bookmark it or highlight it so you can just go and see which of the Greyhawk streamers is on at any time. Blue Box is in there. Nightheart's probably going to be in there. Praters is in there. Carlos is in there. Will's in there. Anna's in there. Mike Disney's in there. Moonlight Minis. Christine Van Patten's in there. There's 3D Sculpt. We got a lot of great people in there. Sean at Pearland Adventures is in there. And we're going to invite more people. We're just doing the first round now. So getting the band together, exactly. Thanks, everyone. Ed, thank you. Eric, thank you. Anna, thank you. Let's stick around. Let's get a rate of over 100 into Tabletop Notch. How is that? We got 150 people on. Thank you. I'm really enjoying the partnership. It is. It's such a weight off of me. Anna will tell you, it's just been a drag on the last year, just oh my gosh, but finally it happened, and now it's opened up a lot of doors for us, and let's keep it going for everyone. Ed, what a pleasure. Eric, what a pleasure twice. See you all Wednesday night, all right? And there's a lot of other great content. Go to the stream team, see who's on any given night. I think Sean from Pearland may be on tomorrow night, so one-stop shop, you can see who's on. See you soon. I haven't hit the wrong button tonight either. I don't want to curse myself, but I haven't. Yeah, so that's good. Thank you, Jim. Trying to keep it going here. Let me set the raid up and then we'll get going. Dun 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 dun.
Raid.
A raid. Yeah. Raiding is great. I mean, all right. So they have right now 18 people watching. If we go in with another 100, right? That's the whole thing about raids. Raids are really sharing. Oh my gosh, 107, 113, 150. We have 115 people going in. That's so awesome. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. See you all Wednesday night. Thank you. Wow, that is so awesome. That's one of the biggest ones ever.
Yeah.
That was great.
Oh, that was awesome. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah.
But I want to apologize to Anna because we're all so loud and boisterous. We hog all the space.
No, I love it. It's so good to listen to, and I get a chance to babble so often in here that I'm worried that I'm babbling too much. So this is good. Yeah.
This was great. This was so fantastic.
Yeah.
So
Listen
let me
and
shut
learn.
this
And it was
off.
like Eric